tell us that mainstream thinking is dangerous liberal thinking. That the overwhelming majority of the American people are dangerous. Claire in Largo. Hi, Claire. Which dangerous liberal philosophies or policies did you want to warn us about?
Well, I'd like to warn people about the dangerous liberal thinking of having an idiot liberal like you on the radio.
Give me a specific
not letting
liberal policy.
Talk
Claire,
and talking over everybody.
Claire, give me a specific dangerous liberal policy.
Your type of radio went out with Joe Pine.
No, Claire. No, Claire. My type of radio is in.
For a guy who's begging for calls, cool it.
No, I'm not begging for calls, Claire. You're just another one. Another one. Aren't you bushy people ashamed of yourself?
Yeah, well, I think if you're going to talk about what's frightening the conservatives, you have to get into more of the liberal philosophy, not the
Claire,
politics.
which dangerous liberal policies did you want to warn us about?
Okay, you go back through history and you see the direction the liberals have been going.
Claire, which specific dangerous liberal policies? Claire, I'm going to ask for the third and final time.
If you don't have the background, you won't understand it.
I didn't ask for background, Claire. I asked for which dangerous liberal policies that George doesn't have the time to warn us about.
Freeing the slaves, you get to...
We'll go to Chad in St. Petersburg. Perhaps he can understand the question. Chad in St. Petersburg, which dangerous liberal policies did you want to warn us about?
Well, Bob, some damn liberals they let on the radio.
John in Clearwater, which dangerous liberal policies did you want to warn us about?
Hello, Bob.
Hi, John.
I was driving down the road and I got so fired up I had to stop and...
Great.
Listen, you were arguing with one of your callers about deregulation, okay?
No, I wasn't arguing with him about deregulation at all.
Well, you asked him, he said something like, I'll make it easier on you. Which conservative program do you like the most? And he said deregulation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I would just like to mention to him that deregulation has brought us...
John, which dangerous liberal policy did you want to warn us about?
Well, I'm a liberal, so...
Thank you very much, John. Bob in a car phone. Bob, you're on the air, WFLA. Aw, you're kidding. You dropped off already? Aw, sucker. Bob in Lakeland. Bob, you're on the air, WFLA.
Hello?
Hi.
Yes.
Which dangerous liberal policies did you want to warn us about, Bob?
Well, there's just one thing I got to say before you hang up on me.
Which dangerous liberal policy did you want to warn us about, Bob?
If you would let your faithful listeners...
Which dangerous liberal policy did you want to warn us about, Bob?
One of them is people like you that won't let...
Obviously, Bob doesn't have any dangerous liberal policies that he wanted to warn us about. George in Clearwater. George, which one did you want to warn us about?
Well, I think the main policy that everyone should really be very much concerned about, and that's education.
Oh? Liberals are in favor of education. Is that dangerous?
I'll tell you, my perception, correctly or incorrectly, is that the powerful, I believe it's the Northeast...
Which dangerous liberal policy, get right down to specifics, did you want to warn us about?
What I'm getting to, Bob, is that I think that people have to have...
Which dangerous liberal policy did you want to warn us about specifically and now?
Well, I'm trying to say that, if you would,
well,
please.
Get to it now.
I am for the tuition tax credit.
Oh, I see. So public schools are a dangerous liberal policy.
No, I think that something has to be done other than it's being espoused by the liberals.
So keeping a public school system in this country alive is a dangerous liberal policy, but dismantling the public school system is a good conservative policy.
I didn't say to dismantle the public school system.
I know that's not what you said, but that is the purpose of a tuition voucher.
Thank you for allowing me to say what I wanted to say.
Thank you for telling us that the public school system is a dangerous liberal idea. David in Tampa, you're on the air, WFLA.
Yes. I would like to know...
which dangerous liberal policy, David, did you want to warn us about?
About where they would want to call a convention and revise the United States Constitution after the Bill of Rights.
I beg your pardon, David. That is a conservative cause and one that Ronald Reagan supports. It is not a liberal cause, David. It is a conservative cause.
Okay, then.
Brother. 990-9352 in Hillsborough. 461-9352 in Pinellas to warn us about dangerous liberal policies. And I'll wait. Because like I said, sometimes silence is golden, isn't it? Jim in a car phone. Jim, you're on the air, WFLA. Which dangerous liberal policy did you want to warn us about?
Two of them that concern me is one is the national health insurance project.
That's not liberal. That's mainstream thinking, Jim.
Well, I don't know if that's mainstream.
Well, I don't care what you know. I'm telling you as a fact that's what most Americans want.
And the second item is Dukakis' proposal on trade bills.
That is mainstream thinking as well, Jim. That is what most Americans want. Now tell me about dangerous liberal policies, not mainstream thinking.
Why was the protectionist measures in Congress proposed?
I'm asking you for the last time to tell me about a dangerous liberal policy, not mainstream thinking.
Well, I'm sorry. You don't want to debate the issue.
Debate what issue? What is a dangerous liberal policy?
Those are two things that
They are not liberal policies, Jim. That is mainstream thinking.
That's your opinion.
No, it's not my opinion, Jim. It's a fact of life.
All right, you don't want to debate the topic at hand.
What do you mean I don't want to debate the topic at hand? You can't answer the question. Give me a dangerous liberal policy, not mainstream thinking.
I've indicated two things that are not mainstream policy.
Well, Jim, as a matter of fact, am I a liberal? I'm against both. But that's besides the point, Jim. It is mainstream thinking.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Whose measure?
By the measure, that's what the majority of people want. That's what makes it mainstream thinking, Jim.
All right, well, then let me ask you a question, Mr. Lassiter. Is that when the trade bill came up in Congress regarding...
Jim, I just told you I am against trade restrictions and I am against national health care.
Well, now, is that not a liberal cause on the...
No, it is not a liberal cause, Jim. It's what most Americans want.
The protectionist issues?
Yes, Jim.
Why was it voted down by Congress and proposed by liberal Democratic senators and congressmen?
Jim, it was not voted down by Congress. It was passed by Congress and vetoed by the president.
No.
Yes, Jim.
Look, if you look at the original proposal that went through the bill was modified and was resubmitted at a later hearing. And that's what you end up with today, the present trade bill.
Jim, the trade bill was vetoed, and the veto was not overridden. A vast majority of Congress passed it, but not the Senate.
Not in its original form, sir.
Well, there is no trade bill right now, Jim.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, even if there was, it's what the American people want.
Well, they're not...
The American people want retaliatory tariffs, Jim. That's what the American people want. That's not liberal thinking, Jim. It's mainstream thinking.
Well, thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you for yours, Jim. Mark in Tampa. Mark, you're on the air, WFLA. Which dangerous liberal policy did you want to inform us about?
Well, I was just curious as far as the gradual elimination of the basic principles, religious principles that this country is founded on.
Oh, Jim, give me a break. I want a specific, Jim. Give me a specific liberal policy.
Huh?
Give me a specific liberal policy.
Specific liberal policy?
Yes, a dangerous specific liberal policy.
Elimination of prayer from schools. Is that not a specific liberal policy?
First of all, it was the Warren Court that did that back in the 1960s, Mark. Secondly, only 15% of this nation's classrooms had mandatory Bible reading at the beginning of the day at the time that the Supreme Court passed.
Okay.
Or passed on that particular question.
Okay.
Secondly, Mark, it is only a handful of religious fundamentalists who want Bible reading in school.
Has it ever
Again,
been
the average the average American is very leery of that fundamentalist.
Has the average American ever been given an opportunity to vote on it?
We are not that kind of a nation, Mark. Are we?
Allowed to vote on?
No, Mark, there is utterly no provision whatsoever in the Constitution for that, is there? Is there, Mark?
As far as...
Mark, there is utterly no provision whatsoever in the Constitution for a nationwide question like that on the ballot, is there, Mark?
Oh, you mean
is there, Mark?
Enough people.
Is there, Mark?
If enough
is
people,
there, Mark? There is no provision in the Constitution for that. Is there, Mark?
You mean to tell me?
Is there, Mark? Yes or no?
Wait a minute.
Yes or no?
If the marijuana.
Get off my phone, you miserable pig. There isn't. And to imply that the reason there hasn't been a nationwide plebiscite is because of the liberals blocking it is bull. Isn't it, Mark?
Bob, how you doing?
Fine. Which dangerous liberal policies did you want to warn us about?
Okay, from the liberal standpoint, I would think that the conservative would not want immigration from third
Bob,
world.
which dangerous liberal policy did you want us to be informed about?
I'm trying to answer. Immigration from third world countries.
Immigration from third world countries, Bob, is not a liberal policy.
Well, I would think that the conservative...
Is it, Bob?
I would think that...
Is it, Bob? I guess that means no, it isn't. I was wrong. Please forgive me. George in a car phone. George, you're on the air, WFLA.
Yeah, Bob.
Which dangerous policy do you want to warn us about, George?
Well, I feel that military spending, and I disagree with you because I think Carter was defeated. And
George, I straightened out the guy in the last hour. I'll straighten you out. The overwhelming majority of the American people...
I disagree with you, Bob.
Well, I don't care if you disagree with me, George. The overwhelming majority of the American people want the defense budget cut.
How did Reagan get in?
I don't know how he got in, George.
I know how he got in,
but I'm telling you that the overwhelming majority of American people want the defense budget cut, and that's a fact of life.
No, that's only your opinion.
It's not my opinion, you miserable jerk. I will not listen to lies. Just because you want it to be true doesn't make it true. The average American, the vast majority of Americans, do not want to spend $300 billion a year on defense. Period. And I don't care how much you don't want it to be true, that doesn't change it. That's mainstream thinking, not liberal thinking. Ed in Largo. Ed, you're on the air, WFLA.
Got right on. Okay, the thing that I'd like to discuss with you, and I know you had a couple
which dangerous liberal policy did you want to warn us about, Ed?
Is the national health care, again...
National health care is not a liberal policy, Ed. It is what most Americans want.
Okay, I know that. I know what you said.
So now tell me which dangerous liberal policy we should be aware of.
Socialized medicine as opposed to
there is no one offering himself for office calling for socialized medicine, including Edward Kennedy. Is there?
No, you're right.
Thank you. So I guess it's not a dangerous liberal policy. Alan and Holiday. Alan, you're on the air, WFLA.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
I'm going to try to put into words what a lot of these people have been saying to you.
Which dangerous, specific liberal policy did you want to warn us about, Alan?
It is the redistributionist policies of the liberals.
Which liberal wants to redistribute the wealth?
Well, the policies of the liberal thing.
Which liberal wants to redistribute the wealth, Alan?
Well, FDR started it. Woodrow
Alan,
had a hand in it.
FDR was a very wealthy man and got wealthier as he went along. Which liberal running today wants to redistribute the wealth, Alan?
Dukakis.
Oh?
Yes.
Now name a specific policy that he has directed at redistributing the wealth.
Okay. Food stamps, welfare.
Food stamps are not a redistribution of the wealth, Alan.
Yes,
and on top of that, the overwhelming majority of Americans are in favor of those programs.
Bob, most of those policies...
They are in favor of those programs. They are mainstream programs. They are not liberal programs.
Are not aimed at the poor.
They are
aimed at the middle class.
Food stamps and welfare are not aimed at the middle class, Alan. Get off my phone. You're also another jerk that doesn't know what in the hell he's talking about. Frank in Palm Harbor. Hi there, Frank in Palm Harbor. Which dangerous liberal policy did you want to inform us about?
I want to say in general, a lot of these programs with the Congress want to pass.
Frank, which specific dangerous liberal policy did you want to warn us about?
I just want you to put you straight on mainstream.
Frank, which dangerous liberal policy did you want to warn us about?
I say all government spending.
All government spending is a dangerous liberal policy. I see, Frank. We're still waiting for dangerous liberal policies to be brought to our attention. I'll make it easier for you. Tell you what, I'll make it easier for you. I sat down this morning and jotted down a couple of things that, maybe you consider to be dangerous liberal policies. And then I jotted down a couple of things that are right-wing policies from the past. Left-wing policies, right-wing policies, okay? From the left-wing side, Social Security. Let's start with Social Security. Now, whether or not the Social Security system is sound is neither here nor there. It ought to be. And both liberals and conservatives certainly agree on that, don't we all? But the concept of Social Security is a liberal left-wing policy. Then there's unemployment insurance, another liberal left-wing policy. Have you ever collected unemployment insurance? Are you collecting Social Security now? Are you going to send it back? I don't think so, are you? Well, let's move on to Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, another dangerous, I guess, left-wing liberal policy. It's of particular interest to those of you who are wealthy conservatives and keep your money in the bank, isn't it? How about vacations? Ah, yes, I'm sorry, my friends, but vacations are a left-wing liberal concept because vacations came about with the organized labor movement, unions that those left-wing liberals support, as well as sick days, health insurance, Christmas off, 8-day or 8-hour work day, 5-day work week. That's a dangerous liberal policy, I guess. Are you opposed to that one? How about VA and FHA insured mortgages? Another dangerous liberal policy where people who don't even own homes subsidize those of you who have VA and HFA mortgages. How about OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Act? Are you opposed to that? Are you opposed to safe working conditions? How about steady food prices? Ah, there's another dangerous liberal policy. Yes, steady food prices. If we didn't have the agricultural programs that we have, where we didn't buy surpluses in years of abundance, hold those surpluses, and then release them into the market in years of small crops, food prices would vacillate wildly. But they don't, because of that dangerous liberal policy that you enjoy. How about school taxes? School taxes? Yes. A dangerous liberal policy. Your school taxes here are lower than they would otherwise be because everyone in the country helps subsidize Pinellas and Hillsborough County schools through federal grants. So your school taxes are lower. You have more money to spend on your National Rifle Association membership. How about the Security and Exchange Commission? Another dangerous liberal policy where the liberals, the left-wing liberals, thought it was just not fair that you rich conservatives should be ripped off by unscrupulous stockbrokers. How about the antitrust laws? A dangerous liberal policy. Well, they're almost out the window now under the conservative administration. So the Canadian real estate developers can buy and sell department stores and put Americans out of business for no good reason whatsoever. How about flood insurance? Yeah, sitting down there in your waterside condo or house, shaking your cane at the radio. Federal flood insurance, subsidized by people who live in the ghetto in Newark, New Jersey, so that you can afford flood insurance. Another dangerous liberal policy, huh? How about the National Labor Relations Board? Yeah, the National Labor Relations Board, another dangerous left-wing liberal idea. It is an organization that keeps your employer from treating you unfairly. How about the FCC? Whoa, there's one for you. The Federal Communications Commission, another dangerous liberal left-wing idea. By the way, if it wasn't for the conservatives, I couldn't say half the words I say. The liberals thought that I shouldn't use them. How about the Federal Aviation Administration? Another dangerous liberal idea. Remember when you could actually get a flight from Tampa, Florida to Utica, New York? You can't anymore. And to a lot of other towns. But under that dangerous left-wing liberal FAA, airlines had to service every community if they wanted to service the big ones. How about the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration? You don't have to sweat. You don't have to sweat going to the store and buying something that's going to be harmful to you because of an unscrupulous businessman. Because of that dangerous left-wing liberal policy. Is that one you'd like to get rid of? How about disability insurance? Yeah, for when through no fault of your own you become disabled and can't work. Another dangerous left-wing liberal idea, huh? How about college loans and grants? I wonder how many of you conservatives went to school with a college loan or grant, conceived and put into practice by dangerous left-wing liberals. How about the GI Bill of Rights? How many of you bought homes, started businesses, or went through school because of a left-wing liberal Congress and a left-wing liberal administration that put through the GI Bill of Rights? How about the Veterans Administration? Another left-wing liberal idea, huh? How about NASA? A left-wing liberal idea? Going to the moon was a left-wing liberal idea, I guess. How about voting rights and civil rights? Would you tell me that you're not in favor of every American citizen having the right to vote? Well, it was a left-wing liberal idea, wasn't it? How about being thrown out of your job because you're a Presbyterian?
You was on your way out the door. Big fat pig.
I know you've been telling me that for 3.5 years. Temple Terrace, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
Hi, Bob. Remember, where there is somebody good, there is always somebody is the master.
Oh, the master of what, sir?
He is the master in entertainment. He puts forward his points very subtly.
What
if
points,
you
sir?
are perceptive, you would understand.
Oh, if I was perceptive, I would understand that. I see. In other words, because he lets you on every day.
No, I don't ever call Lionel. Never.
No, of course not.
The only person I call is you.
Right.
Not even Teddy.
Right.
You are the only person I speak to.
Why would that, sir? Why would that be, sir?
Well, because you bring up points that are not in agreement with mine.
Oh.
And sometimes in agreement with mine.
Mm-hmm.
And you are controversial, I must admit.
Mm-hmm.
However, Lionel is the master.
Okay, great, sir.
All right, Bob.
Well, you go stand over the sign that says Spilkis.
Bye.
Bye. Clearwater, you're on there at 970 WFLA.
Bob, thanks for this opportunity to speak to you. I can only say one thing in your defense. I believe that you are a man who has the courage of his convictions, and I will applaud that more than I would any of your convictions. I believe, as far as abortion is concerned, that any woman has a right to make a decision at the time of inception. Beyond that, she's not dealing with the rights of her body. She's dealing with the rights of a body that she has helped to create.
You're going to stand under the sign that says Spilkis.
Well, I don't usually stand under one sign or another too long. But as far as
you would find a discussion of whether or not a woman had a right to do what she wanted with her own body to be boring, right?
No, I would not. It's too serious to be bored. It is too serious to find boring, and I think anybody that would say that it was has got the intellect of plankton. As far as Lionel is concerned, I think he has the IQ about room temperature in a very cool room.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I guess that's supposed to soften me up for your anti-abortion, right?
Well, I am very much anti-abortion, but like I said, that is my personal conviction. Also, when it comes to gun control, I honestly do not believe in it. I believe that it is a right, and if you do not believe
Amazing.
in this
You've got the right to carry around a killing machine, but a woman doesn't have the right to do what she wants with her own body.
Well, well, the killing machine, if used within the confines of the law, is correct.
Yeah.
Using your body to kill is premeditated murder. That baby doesn't have any choice. She had a choice back when.
Baby isn't a human being, sir.
Pardon?
Well, the baby isn't a human being, but the woman
yes,
is.
it is. Yes, it is.
Well,
At conception.
sir, what
that
you...
is the
yes,
point
sir.
of... See, now that's what I was talking about, conviction.
Sir, what human traits does that fetus have?
Say again?
What human characteristics?
I'm not a scientist or a doctor. I wouldn't get into that. I know it has a soul.
You know it has a soul.
Yes, I do, by conviction.
I see. So because of your religious beliefs...
You can call me a...
No, I'm just going to hang up on you. Because of your religious beliefs, other people have to be dictated to. I see, sir. I see. Don Richards standing by the WFLA news desk. Off it is now to Tampa. Tampa, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Bob, two things. I heard the guy that called up Lionel this morning, and he had seen you on the television interview. I believe it was with Bill Ratliff?
I'm not sure which one he's talking about. I've probably done,
he called up Lionel
half a dozen of them in 3 years.
Okay, and he said that when you made that comment about you would never call a radio station, when I happened to catch the interview, when I saw it, I immediately thought, I can understand that, because for me it's a major ordeal, to call. I get nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how you can differentiate between, having a talk show and calling up. How do you do that? I mean, you could be nervous calling up, but...
Well, I'm in control in here. I'm in total control. I, decide what gets talked about, how long it gets talked about, in what way it gets talked about. And I'm sitting here all by myself. I mean, you're responding to me, not me to you. At home, as a caller, it would be the exact opposite, and I'm just way too shy.
That makes sense. That makes sense. When he called up this morning and then he called you up this afternoon, I immediately felt that he took you out of context, because I did see the interview. Lionel, now, the other thing is that I don't really understand the feud, because if you can call it a feud, I can watch Saturday Night Live reruns, or I can watch Crossfire and enjoy them both. I get something out of both of them.
Well, 1 second here. I have no feud. I just respond when people talk about me.
Well, maybe
that's not a feud.
Maybe the people are trying to make
if I had a feud, I'd be downstairs in the general manager's office saying this bozo's got to go, this bozo's irresponsible, whatever it might be. And quite the contrary. I basically am disappointed in Lionel because he isn't better, because he's far more talented than I am.
Well,
far more.
Somebody else made a comment. He called Lionel's show and said, "I would love to see the both of you get together. It'd be like Leonard and Hearns last night. I'd sell tickets and some popcorn in the aisles." And
sorry, he's not ready.
Well, it's two different things. I can enjoy both. It's a good variety, and it's two different things entirely.
No, I'm sorry, he's not ready. When he states his opinions, when he breaks some new ground, when he accomplishes something worthwhile, then he'll be my peer.
I'd like to ask you something else, please.
Sure.
I don't watch much TV, at least not for the last couple of years. I listen to a lot of talk radio, and I'm really curious. I'm interested. Not personally, how do you feel about Lionel as a talk show host? Personally.
I told you during the course of my monologue this afternoon. I'd be delighted to repeat it to you. He's an extremely intelligent, extremely witty, extremely charming, extremely engaging young man. That's part of his problem. He hasn't suffered enough. He does not understand. He has no real compassion for people who have. When you can sit there and say things like, hey, I'm bored with talks about abortion, when women in this country, possibly as soon as next Monday, will lose that opportunity. I'm sorry, that angers me. It angers me very much. He's very talented, but he doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Lionel is far more talented, or excuse me, let me rephrase that, believes he's far more talented than he is. He's more talented than any human being has a right to be, but he is 1/10 as talented as he thinks he is. So consequently, he doesn't work.
But what he does well.
Sometimes.
He makes me laugh and you piss me off. And if this is the content of your program to trash people, I would have to trash you because of your intolerance.
Well, you just did. 11 minutes after the hour of 4 o'clock. Welcome back, you lucky people. It is a Tuesday, June the 13th, 1989. Yes, I'm the magnificent Lassiter with you until 6, as I am every weekday, right here at News Radio 970 WFLA. Hi there, Clearwater. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, magnificent Lassiter.
Good afternoon, Clear.
I really get angry at people who could not care of what goes on about the abortion issue, gun control, you name it. The apathy in this country is truly astounding, and the only way that I can figure out why people are so uncaring of what is going on here is the fact that they have always had freedom and that they have absolutely no concern about maybe losing it. It doesn't make any difference whether it's freedom of choice, whether it's freedom to be able to walk the streets, you name it. There's so many things, and it really angers me to think that Lionel would encourage something like this.
Whoa.
Not encourage.
It's been going on long since before he got his gig.
Well, I know that. But what I mean to say by that, encourage the people to express their opinion that they really couldn't care less, and neither could he. Lionel is very talented, and I did listen to him, and I do listen to him occasionally, but most of the time I find him extremely boring. I really couldn't care less about the music that sounds horrible, the jokes that sound terrible, and the absolute buffoons who call up. I just truly agree with you on this. I think it's very important that we raise the consciousness of the people in this country and have them recognize that it is absolutely important that women have the right to choose, that we help the oppressed, the people who are not earning a decent living wage. These are all the problems that we're facing today, and I think if we don't do something about it, or at least care to do something about it, then, each year's just going to...
Well, I don't know. Crazy me, I would think it would be at least as important as to who you run into in the gun range.
Well, absolutely.
That's important, too. Hey, everything in life is important.
I understand that. And, there are a lot of things that Lionel does that are important, even the jokes and all that. But to say that they're not, they really couldn't care less about some of the very important issues which really affect all of us. And I would say that all of us are affected by what is going on today. And to say that, oh, well, I don't care, there's nothing I can do about it, is ridiculous. Okay. This is exactly the apathy that has created this sort of thing. And, it's the 80s, and hopefully we'll be leaving the 80s soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care, T. One line available. It is in Pinellas County. Tampa, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hello, Bob. Good
Hi.
afternoon. I've got several things and people I'd like to trash. I'd like to trash Ronald Reagan in the Congress for our deficit, which we now get to enjoy. And I'd like to trash Mr. Bush for vetoing the minimum wage. I think the minimum wage ought to be tied to some kind of inflation factor so that people can enjoy some kind of decent standard of living. And I'm a Republican, by the way. I also want to trash Lionel for his approach to his show, for his vocabulary. He seems to be stuck on sexual things, as Liz Richards used to be. I think the media in general needs to be trashed for their approach to the abortion issue. I think they need to, and I agree with the earlier caller from Clearwater, I think that women and men do have a choice, and their choice should be made before they come together in their intimate act.
Oh, I see. So all pregnancies are a direct result of lust.
Yeah, well, I think once they make the choice not to use birth control, then they have the responsibility.
Well, what about when the birth control is used but doesn't function?
If it doesn't function properly, and she does get pregnant?
Yeah. Or what about a woman who's, now approaching 50, who's been told that she's been infertile for years now, that she's past her change in life, and then suddenly wakes up one morning pregnant? What about that?
I still think if she doesn't want the child, she should give it up.
Give it up for adoption. In other words, she should go through a life-threatening procedure based upon what, sir? Your religious views? Does the baby has a soul?
I do.
Does the fetus have a soul, sir?
Pardon me?
Does the fetus have a soul?
I believe that they do, yes.
I see. So because you have religious beliefs about something, other people should immediately fall down, change their lives for your religious beliefs.
Well, I believe
risk their lives for your religious beliefs.
If it's made into law.
Law, sir? Law, sir?
I think just as...
in other words, it should be made into law because it's your religious belief.
No, I think whatever the courts decide, that we should all abide by it.
Well, then why, sir, would people of your persuasion try to change the court's mind? The court's already decided.
Well, we're not changing the court. Believe me, as far as these people going to the abortion clinics and doing all that, I'm against that.
Well, that's good.
I think that whoever the president...
Glad to hear that you're against trespassing. So in other words,
I think it's ridiculous.
Then in other words, you don't think that abortion is murder.
Pardon me?
You don't think that abortion is murder, then?
Yes, I do.
Well, sir, if you think that it was murder, then why wouldn't you want people to go in and try to stop a murder being committed?
Oh, I think they're violating the law.
Well, sir, if you were walking down the street and you passed by somebody's house and you looked through the window and you saw an intruder in there, in the striped shirt and little mask, choking the woman of the house, wouldn't you trespass upon her property to go in there and stop that murder?
I think, I'd have to deal with that situation as it came up.
You'd have to deal with that situation when it came up?
I'd call the police first.
Oh, you'd wait 15 or 20 minutes for the cops to get there while the intruder's killing the woman. My goodness, sir, what a tremendous respecter of life you are.
If you've got a gun or something like that, you can't,
No, I said he was choking her, sir, choking her. It takes two hands to choke. In other words, so if he had a gun, he would either have to be holding it between his knees, under his armpit, or in his teeth.
Well, if he was choking her, then I could possibly take that situation, that particular one, into account, and I'd rather choose
you're telling me that you tell me you love saving life of somebody else's baby, but not the poor woman in the house who's being choked by the burglar.
Well, I think the abortion issue...
Sir, it's not an abortion issue. Come on, let's be honest with each other. It's a matter of keeping women under control.
No, sir, it's not that at all.
No, of course not. I must have been mistaken.
I've got a
You got a piss poor case is what you got, sir. Tampa, you're on the air at 970 WFLA. Hi, Tampa.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
How are you?
Fine.
I have a good analogy. I do believe. You cater after the intelligent crowd. Lionel is a caller. He caters after callers. It's funny, but the people that used to call you, who don't now, are calling Lionel.
No, sir, that's not the situation at all.
Well,
as a matter of fact, I believe I heard you express that opinion about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago on Lionel's show, and if it wasn't you, it was somebody else said the exact same thing. What it is, and I'm not trying to be flip here, it happens to be the truth. I do not like hearing the same voices every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have discouraged the chronic caller.
Mm-hmm.
Lionel doesn't have the gazungas to yet. So he's still stuck with chronic callers that I either won't allow on my show or that have given up on trying to get on my show.
Okay, fine. But the thing is, you cater after the intelligent crowd. I think
come on, give me a
Lionel
break.
Caters after the individual that does not read the paper and is more interested in rubbers and gas stations.
No, sir, I totally disagree with you in terms of, who I am catering to. I'm catering to the people that likes the blood and guts and gore traffic intersections. My friend, I've got to run. Speaking of traffic intersections, thank you much for the call. Hillsborough 9909. Largo. Hi, Larg. You're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Yes, Mr. Lassiter. How are you?
Fine, thank you, Largo. Yourself?
I'd like to know just who do you think you are criticizing our friend Lionel?
I'm Bob Lassiter, the magnificent Lassiter.
Don't you know you're operating on his turf? He's a genuine Southern belle, sir. He's a true Southerner.
Whatever his sexual persuasion is of little concern to me whatsoever. I'm just concerned when I face things like
he's a true Southerner. Now, you started off by criticizing the girl on Channel 10.
No, I didn't start off that way at all.
Yes, you did.
No, I started off by criticizing Tim Coles.
Yeah,
then I moved on to Cheryl Brown.
You started off with your sex programs. That's the way you started off.
Ma'am, I don't do programs on sex, although I'm sure you may think that much of anything is sex.
You did about a year and a half ago. That's the way you got started.
No, ma'am, I got started 3.5 years ago.
Started with your sex program.
No, ma'am, I got started 3.5 years ago.
Criticizing everybody. Just who do you think you
are?
No,
ma'am, I started criticizing people from day one.
You're just a fly-by-night here.
You're not a
Southerner. You're not a Southerner.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
You're a round peg in a square hole here, boy. Who do you think you are?
A round pig in a square hole.
You're a round peg in a square hole. You don't
I'm not going to call you animal names. I see no reason for you to call me animal names.
You don't fit in here at all. Why don't you go back north where you belong?
Ma'am, I've lived below the Mason-Dixon line for the majority of my life now.
You've been here about a year and a half, starting off with your sex program.
I've been in Tampa for almost 3.5 years, actually 4 years.
Well,
I was in Miami for 5 years prior to that.
You're taking on the wrong one when you start with Lionel.
Ma'am, do you realize I even lived in Richmond, capital of the Confederacy?
I don't care where you lived. You don't belong here.
Ma'am, I'm an American. I belong wherever the hell I want to be.
You never fought for America.
Doesn't make any difference, ma'am. Neither did you.
Well, I'm not a soldier.
I'm not a soldier either, ma'am. I'll have you know.
I know. That's what you said. You're 4F, aren't you?
No, ma'am. I was 1Y.
What are you doing?
It was 1Y, ma'am.
Why does a 4F come in here and try to
tell
everybody else
I don't know anybody on the air who has a 4F. If I was a 1Y, I couldn't get a 4F.
You and TG are about the same.
TG? Are you referring to TG Shepherd, the well-known country singer?
No, this crazy woman that keeps calling you.
Oh, TJ.
TJ, yeah.
No, TJ. J as in Jack.
TJ.
No, not G as in jerk.
When we get you and TJ up in Washington, then you can make the rules.
Ma'am, I don't make rules.
No, you sure like to, though.
No, ma'am, I wouldn't like to make any rules.
Trying everybody to tell everybody what to do when you don't know yourself what you're doing.
You're the only person on this program who's told anybody what to do. You keep telling me to leave.
Well, I wish you would.
Well, ma'am, you don't get to make... Ma'am, when you get up to Washington, then you can make the rules.
You just don't fit in here at all. You're not a true Southerner.
Ma'am,
the Southerners don't talk about their privates in public like you do.
That was Ted Webb, man, not
No,
me.
that was you.
Another Southern boy.
You mentioned the penis a while ago. That isn't polite in public.
No, ma'am, it wasn't my penis I was referring to. It was someone else's.
Somebody should have taught you some manners.
And it was a penis extender, a 38 caliber penis extender is precisely what I said.
A true Southerner doesn't talk about such things in public.
You've already done so yourself.
That shows your
Rocky,
strike.
is this you? Are you trying to do a new Mrs. Airstream or something?
I live here, sir. I don't live in an Airstream.
Do you play shuffleboard? You do play shuffleboard.
I'll play shuffleboard if I want to. I live here the year round, mister. I'm not a fly-by-night like you.
Well, no, I beg your pardon. I live here year-round, too.
You don't even own your own home here.
No, ma'am.
What's this hang-up that you have about children all the time? You don't have children of your own.
That's correct, ma'am. I don't have any hang-ups about children.
And you holler about guns. You don't even carry a gun. You go around socking people in the mouth.
All right, Rocky. Come on now.
Yeah. How long ago
you
was
can
that
break character now, Rocky.
How long ago was that when you socked this man in the mouth? He should have cleaned up on you good.
Didn't sock anybody in the mouth, man.
You did, too, in Largo.
No, I didn't, man.
Not very long ago. It was in the paper.
No, ma'am.
No,
I'm a bad guy. I don't read Time and Newsweek.
Oh, well, I'm going to have to do something about that.
Send me a subscription and I'll start reading it. I can't afford it.
Rich and famous, Bob.
Oh, okay.
No, but really they were saying that as a woman reaches 35 and 40, her chances of marriage dwindle. In fact, she's more likely to be killed in a terrorist attack than to get married.
That's terrible.
I thought that was excellent. My reaction was the same. It was supposed to be, oh my God, but I thought that was outrageous.
I'm familiar with similar studies, even though I didn't see that piece.
Oh yes, and then you know what that does? That spurs on a whole lot of calls about, I can't meet anyone at the bars that I'm going to, and everyone is not my type.
Meeting people at bars is a rough way to go.
Don't you agree? I have no sympathy for people who complain about that. And have you looked around? They all look the same. They all look like they've just come from a funeral or something. Yeah, how would you ever...
But nonetheless, it's almost impossible, especially when you reach a certain age, to meet people. And, you know, where else can you go and have a shot at maybe 30, 40, or 50 people in one evening than a bar? You know, it's awfully tempting. We all know that it's a rough way to go and a bad way to go, and that your odds of any kind of success, and I'm not talking about one-night stand success, but success in a relationship, are virtually minuscule. But, you know, what else are you supposed to do? It's tough.
Well, I think it's all the attitude, too. I mean, if they're acting as if they're looking for the first male that's eligible that they're going to marry, guys are going to run for the hills. They would be stupid to do otherwise, I would assume.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, really?
Really, I think that probably most men in their 30s, 40s, and 50s who are making the bar scene are genuinely looking for a relationship.
Yes, but maybe...
You know, pleased to settle for a one-night stand, thank you, but I believe deeply in my heart they're looking for a wife.
No.
Or a live-in long-term lover.
You really think so?
Yes, I do.
Huh, that's interesting.
Well, you should know better. Studies have shown dramatically, time and time and time again, that men, the older they get, the more they crave marriage. It's the women, the older they get, that the more independent they come, but men become more dependent.
See, I don't know.
Especially if they've been married before.
No, but what they were saying in this article, they were saying that most of the women who had chosen careers, particularly the baby boomers, that now that they had their careers, they want to have a family and a husband and settle down, and it's not that easy anymore because the numbers are against them. Population-wise, there's more women than there are men, and that's against them. So they're showing the alternatives that they'll settle for having single...
Well, we've had this conversation privately before, and I expressed this view then, and I'll express it now. Yeah, sure, the numbers are against them, but I think there's something else that's against them, too. And that is that I believe, now, and I can really only go from myself, from my own perspective, and from a handful of other people that I know in similar situations, but I believe that the older a man gets, the less likely he is to want this independent, woman's lib type of female. He wants a more traditional, and again, especially if he's been married, and especially if he has been married to an independent woman. He wants the more traditional female.
Yes, but...
Which is going to keep you away from those lawyers and CPAs.
Pardon me?
Which is going to keep you away, drive you away. You know, hi there, sweetheart, what do you do? I'm a CPA. Thanks, see you some other time. Hi there, sweetheart, what do you do? I'm a secretary. All right, send that lady a drink.
Well, that's a rather bizarre attitude, but I think that what the point of this was that a lot of these women are now looking for that kind of life. Maybe they are more willing to go into this subservient role. And they also pointed out what Mother always told you, you know, to settle down and have a family. Now they're seeing that, oh my, I should have done that, as their biological clock is ticking away, they say.
Well, I've told you quite candidly, again in private conversations, that I was married to a very independent, very liberated type woman. I made her independent and liberated. She was not that when I married her. And I am confident that the second time around, no way, Jose. Don't need it again. And, you know, coming from Lassiter, that's a very heavy statement.
Oh, my.
Well, it is, because I like people who have, well, at least what I consider to be, others may not, but I like people to have what I consider to be a brain on their head. And it must be hell to have a brain inside your head and still have to play this silly male-female, man-woman game.
Well, I don't know.
You know, because I believe in my heart that men and women are equal, and yet I don't want an equal relationship anymore.
What do you want?
I just told you, the more traditional.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
So the women of Tampa better watch out.
I don't think the women of Tampa have anything to worry about at all.
Okay.
Be good.
Thank you, Bob.
Take care.
Bye.
Bradenton, hi. You're on air at WPLP.
Yeah, hi. A little earlier you were talking about art.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, how do you feel about Norman Rockwell?
I enjoy looking at Rockwell's work from time to time. I wouldn't want it hanging in my house, but it gives me a great warm feeling when I do stumble upon it. But I wouldn't want to look at it every day.
Oh, because I'm in 9th grade, and in school we're talking about art now, and that's about the first artist I ever really liked.
Oh, his work is very sentimental, and it brings back, great warm feelings, and of course, basically, even the period that Rockwell was painting and what he was painting wasn't real. It was a contrivance. But it's what we would like to think life is about. It's what we would like to think the country is about and what the good old days were about. And it makes me feel good, but I wouldn't want to look at it on my wall every day.
Oh, well, I've got one hanging in my room, and I just think it's wonderful.
Oh, but that's what art's all about.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to turn everybody on. Art wouldn't be fun to look at if there weren't a zillion different styles and a zillion different topics. On my walls, I prefer abstract. I prefer color and form. I'm not into pictures on my wall.
Oh, okay.
But I like to look at them.
Okay, I have one more question.
Sure.
Do you enjoy what you do?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
If you could start all over, would you do the same thing?
Yeah. Hopefully a little bit earlier, because I didn't get into talk radio until I was 39.
How old are you now?
40.
Oh, okay.
So I've been doing it about a year and a half.
Oh, what were you doing before this?
Music radio. I was a disc jockey.
Oh, okay. Well, it was nice talking to you.
Good talking to you.
Okay, bye.
Take care. Tampa, 224-0057. Pinellas, 393-0057. Sarasota, Bradenton, 746-0057. Need I tell you it's an open program? I have no idea if you guys are enjoying this or not, but I'm just in a really strange, philosophical, and mellow mood this evening. What can I tell you? Bradenton, you're on the air at WPLP.
Mr. Lassiter?
Yes, sir.
Because of a program you had on either the first or the second Saturday night, I thought was one of the absolutely the best talk show program I ever heard. That was when you asked people about religion.
My favorite topic.
Yeah, and as a result, because of some doubts I've had before that, particularly the TV evangelism and my distaste and everything with reference to born-again fundamentalists, etc., I started going to a bookstore over in St. Petersburg. You've probably heard of it. And I won't give the name because I understand you don't like that sort of stuff. But anyway.
You can give the name. Doesn't bother me.
Osmond.
Okay, fine.
I got in there, and it's like a new world, It reminded me of my college days and all that stuff. And I went in, and I got Gibbon, and I got H.G. Wells' Outline of History. Picked up Durant's Caesar in Christ. As a result, I've got a question I'd like to ask you, particularly want to ask you because of your background, okay?
Sure.
But before I do, I'd like your permission to make a comment about a caller of yours about 4 or 5 calls ago, okay?
Go for it.
And the comment is this. She sounded to me like an elderly lady inquiring as to whether or not you'd had your hands slapped by management, and that's why you're in such a better mood today and all that sort of stuff. And she said she was so glad not to hear that profanity, and I'd like her to know, and I hope she's listening. You have never used a profane word on your program at any time, at least to the time I've been listening.
I haven't used any word that Tim Coles doesn't use.
Pardon?
I haven't used any word that Tim Coles doesn't use.
Well, there's another station. I won't mention the name of the man, but my God, he might just well go out with the rest of the words and be done with it. But the lady irked me because she's typical of elderly people. You can surmise their background real quick, or at least I think you can. But when she said profanity, she was so relieved not to hear profanity. Lady, if you're listening, hell and damn, they are not profane words. Profane or profanity refers to, like GD, the
right, basically taking
deity,
right, basically taking God's name.
Right, yeah, something along our 10 Commandments. But here's my question, because I'm getting very, very frustrated trying to figure out the answer to the following question. Because just once, if I ever get on one of those programs, I'm going to have some of these born-again people. You keep waving this Bible in their nose like a swagger, and they and I'd like to say, what is your understanding of when what you call this Bible, where everything in the answer is all in there, when was the New Testament put together? Now, real quickly, I listened to a Catholic TV program just for a change, and I was dumbfounded because the priest said, quote, that he was commenting about the Bible and the Catholic approach to it, etc., and said that the New Testament actually was formed by, he says specifically, the Vatican II Council, which is in about the 4th century, he says. And that's when what then thereafter became known as the Catholic Church. At that time, in that period of time, they brought in all the priests, etc., from the far-reaching outlines and all that, and they said this is going to be what later became known as the New Testament. Is that your understanding from your youth as a Catholic in school?
Basically, yes. The New Testament was between 60 to 400 years after the fact, depending upon which portion, which books you're talking about.
Okay, well, I'm talking about the New Testament as...
well, the books of the New Testament were between 60 to 400 years after the fact.
Okay, that's a fair statement the way you put that. Now, my question is, is it your understanding also that it was what, I guess, we could say the predecessor to our present-day Catholic Church, or Catholicism? They're the ones that selected the New Testament, weren't they?
I guess so, because there really wasn't any other major Christian religion until, what,
1500?
Yeah, Martin Luther.
Yeah. So then, when all these Protestants, well, enough said, that's some comment I can reserve for myself later to enjoy. That's your understanding too, right?
Basically, yes.
That's just terrific. Well, then, just let me give you one parenthetical thought, and I'll hang up, because I know there are a lot of people listening to you tonight wanting to talk to you, but in that store, I got a book called The Lost Scriptures, you know? And you talk about some of the thoughts you've expressed on the air, and particularly that one Saturday night. I was just in heaven. I wanted to talk to you so bad, but those lines were swamped, because when you talked about your inquiries about, well, you believe everything in this, Mark and Matthew and the Acts and Revelations, I think it's just, personally, my opinion is that Revelation book is absolutely absurd. The idea that, okay.
By the way, I'll be doing a show literally on the book of Revelations in about a week and a half or 2 weeks with Pastor Clarence Johnson.
No fooling now, that's for sure.
That's
a week
for sure.
and a half, 2 weeks.
Yes.
No problem, I listen every day anyway. But I thought Revelations was bad, but I want you to know, Mr. Lassiter, if you get a chance, I've got the book here, but it's in another room, and I'm not going to run and get it out. But the name of the book is The Lost Scriptures. And here are some documents purportedly found in the era of around 400 years after Christ's birth. In that time period, roughly 400 years afterwards. And there's one by Barnabas, and there's one in which the Virgin Mary is, she, so-and-so. And if I thought that the Revelation was a bunch of absolute absurdity in terms of believing that as a basis for coping with the concept of a deity, I can see, I'll give the Catholics credit at that time, and if we had brazen enough to get rid of the real rough stuff, because it's utterly absurd. Next time I call, and I won't bug you again, because as I say, I know you're busy, but I've just waited so long to just ask you that question about the New Testament, because I can say roughly then that, as you recall, and you've got a better position to say that from than I. You can't really pin it down with Gibbon or H.G. Wells, but around 400 they formed the New Testament, what became known later as the New Testament, right?
That's a reasonably accurate statement, yeah.
Okay, listen, thanks very much. I enjoy your program. You're fantastic. Have a good night.
Thank you. Oh, lordy. Just about a minute away from the hour of 10 o'clock. Halfway mark for a Saturday night, May 31st, 1986. Philosophical and mellow Lassiter this evening. 2 more hours of mellowness on a Saturday night at the radio station coming your way. CBS News at the top of the hour. Don't go far.
News Talk 57, WPLP, wishes to remind its listeners that the opinions expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect the views of management, staff, or sponsors.
Never did understand those. It's called a disclaimer. Whose opinions would you think they were? Well, apparently, what a dumb question. That is really a dumb... Oh, by the way, welcome back. 6.5 minutes after the hour of 10 o'clock, third hour of 4 on a Saturday night, May 31st, 1986, with me, Bob Lassiter. A couple of calls back prior to the news. This woman called up and said something about...
Must have told Clarence your act and be more nice.
I really don't know what kind of concept, at least some people in the audience, have of doing a talk show as though somebody tells you how to do it. There is no way in hell that anybody can tell you how to do 3 or 4 or 5, because I used to do 5-hour shows in Miami, how anybody can tell you to do it. When you walk into a room at the beginning of a program and you are faced with the potential of 3, 4, or 5 hours of dead air, and you are totally, completely on your own, it's a very interesting way to spend an evening, or an afternoon, or a morning, as the case may be, depending upon your shift. I personally find it most of the time very, very easy. Sometimes I find it impossible, and I'm always terrified. You do not, if you have an ounce of brains in your head, you do not come near me for the last hour, half hour, for sure, before my program. I'm just a nervous wreck. I frequently pace. And when the program is over, when I say the final bye-bye, see you tomorrow at 4 or whatever it turns out to be, there is such a feeling of relief that comes over me. But I threatened to tell you how I got into business. I don't think I've ever told that story. It happened a little over a year and a half ago. It came in the middle of my divorce. I had lost my job when my marriage broke up because I just went to pieces. And I couldn't even leave the house. And I'd lost my job and I was unemployed. And I was in the classic re-entry phase. Was going out 7 nights a week. Having a grand old time. Bought all new clothes, changed my hairstyle, was just having a grand old time. Coming home 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. And I had gotten in very, very late. I was soundly asleep when 9:30 in the morning my phone rang. No one in his right mind would call me at 9:30 in the morning, even though I'm usually up. But still, nobody in his right mind would call me at 9:30 in the morning. So I answered the phone. There was a strange young woman named Marianne Deward. She was the executive producer and assistant to a man named Lee Fowler, who was the program director of WGBS in Miami, a talk station. The 4th talk station in Miami at the time. That is, bottom of the heap. Nobody listened to it. It was an awful station. Lee Fowler needed a weekend talk show host, and Lee Fowler couldn't have cared less what he put on the weekends, and he still can't. And he had gotten my name from a mutual friend. I had never spoken with him. I had never indicated in any shape, manner, or form that I wanted to do a talk show. But he had asked around the station, hey, anybody here know anybody wants to do a talk show? And this mutual friend said, yeah, this guy named Lassiter, and he gave him my phone number. And so Fowler had his secretary call me. And mind you, I'm still groggy from a night's worth of reveling. And I answer the phone, and this woman identifies herself, and she says, I'm calling for Lee Fowler. Would you like to do a talk show on WGBS? And I kind of looked at the phone. I did a double take, and I said, yeah, sure, why not? She said, could you start Saturday? And I think this was a Tuesday morning. Broadcasting Network. Coming to you from the Magnificent Broadcasting Studios. Located, of course, in the Magnificent Broadcasting Building. In the Magnificent Broadcasting City. I would hasten to point out to you, by the way, that most of the people who bought all the stuff that we were talking about in the first 2 hours were all longheads. Weren't too many people in the city got fooled by that kind of stuff. But that's neither here nor there. The remaining 2 hours of the program, we will make it in essence an open program. I'll continue along with you in the conversation concerning the taxes. Be delighted to. It's a topic near and dear to my heart. But there are a number of other things I should bring to your attention. Our friends in Naperville. Dog warden appears in a bit of a problem. We're carrying a little dog. A night ended considerably at this time of the night, and I didn't want you to miss this. It was about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. A gentleman called me and asked me in the middle of an otherwise intense program what I thought of the controversy over the University of Alabama coach, and had something to do with their loss to Auburn, and I had no idea what it was about, and I was left absolutely speechless, and basically pulled the man's chain and dismissed him. Well, he wrote me a letter, and I'd like to share it with you. It says, Dear Bob Lassiter, or actually Lassiter, read this letter carefully, but not on the air. I'm writing you a few lines to let you know how arrogant and rude you sounded to me on the telephone. Your rudeness was totally unnecessary. I was an avid listener who took the time to call long distance because I respected your opinion, but now I have no respect for you or your opinion. For your information, gripes began weeks before the Auburn loss. I still don't know what Mel is talking about. But he goes on to say, I don't suppose you knew that. No, I didn't, sir. Unlike you, I have a life, and consequently do not follow very closely what's going on at the University of Alabama and their football team. You came across as a big-headed, proud-feeling, arrogant individual. You talk rudely to people so frequently, and I'm sure you don't even think about it. Well, apparently, until I didn't know anything about the University of Alabama, he enjoyed it because he said he was a constant listener, big fan. But anyway, he goes on to say, you know, Mr. Lassiter, the Lord Jesus Christ could very capably take you down several notches. Now, we discussed as to what that could possibly mean in the office. Maybe he means I could be put into tailor shift or possibly banished to a market like Starkville, Mississippi. Do you know the Lord Jesus Christ? If not, I pray that you'll humble yourself. It'll be hard for you, but you can do it. And ask him to save you. Jesus Christ is still in the soul-saving business. Even can save a high and mighty star like you. Signed, Don Rodney Blank. So the last name is the Blank. Just some things happening out there in Longwoodville. Let me give you the telephone number, 591-8900-591. 8900 Park Forest, High Park. You're on there at WLX.
Yeah, Mr.
Well, sorry about that, young friend. Yes, it was about the politicians, but the other word is no, so we don't care what you have to say. To the south side, High South, you're on the air at WLS.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, Bob, I want to ask you a question about Social Security. Right off the bat, I'll tell you where I'm coming from. I work, I draw Social Security. My question is this. Do you think there should be a cap put on Social Security as to how much money you can make before the government takes half of it?
No, sir. I think there should be a means test. You shouldn't get any of it if you don't need it.
Oh, now wait a minute. That's not what I asked you.
Well, that's the answer.
I need it.
Well, then you don't have to worry about it.
Well, what do you mean I don't have to worry about it?
Well, you asked my opinion, and my opinion is that people who have substantial income, have substantial assets, should not be drawing welfare.
Well, I'm not drawing welfare.
Sure
I'm
you
drawing
are.
some of the money that I paid into it.
No, you're not. That's already long gone. You're drawing my money, sir. The money that comes out of my check every week is what's going to you. Your money's long gone.
I understand what you're saying, but I don't think you understood the question that I asked you.
No, I don't think you understood the answer. That's my answer.
Well, I guess I didn't understand it, but...
if you have substantial income outside, I don't care where it comes from.
Bob, listen, I don't have a substantial income. I need the money. If I didn't need the money, I wouldn't work.
Well, I know Donald Trump tells me he needs the money, too.
Well, now, see, there you go with Donald Trump. I'm no Donald Trump. I'm just one poor individual working my fanny off to try and make ends meet. Now, of course, I can't make you agree with me, and I'm not going to attempt to try. I asked you a question, I guess you gave me your opinion.
Well, I'll even give you more of a detailed answer.
Okay,
Anybody who has income from whatever source that exceeds the average family income in this nation should not be drawing Social Security. So, in other words, anybody who has income that exceeds $31,000 shouldn't get a cent.
No, make $31,000.
Didn't say that you did, sir.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I'd appreciate hearing somebody else's input on this, and I appreciate your answer.
Thank you very much. 591-8900 Lombard. Hi, you're on the air at WLS.
Mr. Lassiter?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I am calling in response to this tax thing, and I just wanted to throw out some numbers that I have gotten from some congressmen here. And
could I ask you to hold for 1 second?
Sure.
Jim Johnson has a bulletin for us.
No
Yes.
problem.
We have a WLS Talk Radio 890 News bulletin. This involves the Chicago and Northwestern West Line. We've just been told a pedestrian has been hit just before the Melrose Park train depot. The train that hit it was going inbound, and it has stopped. We're not sure exactly when those trains will start moving again. Emergency equipment is being sent to the scene, but the accident was on the Chicago and Northwestern West Line. A pedestrian has been hit just moments ago, just before the Melrose Park depot. So if you're, in addition to that tragedy, if you're getting one of those trains and wondering why it's delayed, or meeting somebody and wondering why it's delayed, that's the situation. We'll have more details as they happen here on WLS Talk Radio 890.
Thank you, Johnson. Lombard, thank you for holding.
Thank you. I just wanted to throw some numbers out here that I received from my congressman. Number one, I am in agreement with what Mr. Moynihan is, although I am against all these taxes. But according to the information that I have, between 1982 and 1986, the revenue in the government increased 9%. However, the spending increased 16%. So, what my question would be is, where is all that money going? Also, as far as
well, a fair amount of it was new spending. A fair amount of it was inflation.
Well, part of it was inflation. They're talking in constant $82.
Okay.
This report. So, but anyway,
in that case, it was new spending.
I think there's a problem there in the Congress. Forget Democrats and Republicans, but I think there's a problem in the Congress in that they are no longer a House of the People. They're a House of Incumbents, and I think that's a problem that
I think
people have to deal with.
I think that's too glib a statement. You say they're not a House of the People. What did the people want in the mid-1980s? The people wanted a massive military increase. The people wanted subsidized education. The people wanted subsidized medical care. The people got what they wanted.
That's part of the problem. The people keep asking for everything, and we have to pay for it. We, the people, pay for that.
Well, no, that's part of the problem. We don't want to pay for it.
Well, that's wrong, then. There's no free lunch as far as I'm concerned.
It's immoral.
I work hard, and I do make a lot of money, and I am taxed heavily. But as far as I can see, what I mean by a house of incumbency, I'm saying that it's almost impossible to get some of these congressmen voted out, and that's creating some problems. And
there's a great deal of truth to what you say. Yes, it is almost impossible. But one of the reasons that it's almost impossible is that there are very few good people who offer themselves for office, and when somebody good does come along, the average guy doesn't dig into his pocket and come up with $25, $30, $50, $100 to help this guy pay the expenses of the campaign.
I agree 100%. Absolutely. I hope we can do something about it. The other thing I wanted to say is that the other figures I have here are from 1989. Approximately 90% of all taxable income is below $45,000 income, and 75% is below $25,000. So as far as taxing the rich goes, you could get some from them, but I think the money is in the average person's pocket.
Well, no, it's not in the average person's pocket, nor is the answer just taxing the hell out of the rich. The rich ought to pay a more fair share than they do, but the answer is cutting spending. And the answer is coming up in this country with a whole new set of priorities. We're going to have to decide whether or not we want to pay off the national debt or walk away from it. We're going to have to decide whether or not we can afford a worldwide police force or a damn good defensive force to keep us from being, they're the kind of things that we have to decide in the next decade or two.
I agree. They have to cut spending and cut waste. That's two of the things that the Congress has to do. And I believe the people are probably the only way to do it.
There's some other hard decisions we're going to have to make. If we're going to ask you and I to make sacrifices, and I'm in the top 5% bracket too. I mean, in essence, what I'm calling for is raising my own taxes. That's how much of a lunatic I am.
That's right.
But we're also going to have to ask people who, for example, are on government pensions, and I'm not talking about Social Security. I'm talking about people that, okay, we cut a deal with. You come into the Navy, spend your 20 years, and at 38 we'll give you a pension. I'm sorry, but we're going to have to ask them to make a sacrifice, too, and maybe put that pension off for 10 or 15 or 20 years.
Yes.
Everybody's got to sacrifice because we're just in a hellacious economic mess.
Right, I agree, 100%. And I, by the way, I am self-employed and as a proprietor, so I pay almost double the Social Security tax on my gross after my expenses. So I am taxed double basically.
And actually,
I'm almost penalized for being in business for myself.
What is the cutoff this year on that?
I think it may be a fraction of a percent below what the double is. I'm not sure what the numbers are, but
no, I meant the cutoff beyond income level in which you were not.
52,000 or 55,000, somewhere in there.
Okay.
I can remember when I was a grunt, my Social Security tax was paid up in November when I made nothing, and they just kept raising it and raising it. Now it's very hard for the average person to even reach that. So.
Well, again, but here we come back to the double standard wealthy middle class, because middle class in this country is basically considered up to around 50 grand.
Right.
Now I'll just pull a name out of the air. Mr. Trump, another self-employed man, pays the same tax that you do.
That's right.
That's outrageous.
Of course, he pays more than I do because he makes more. But
no, in terms of the self-employment tax. No, in terms of the self-employment tax.
Oh, yes, that's correct.
Because his cutoff is the same as yours.
I agree 100%. And I agree with what Mr. Moynihan is doing. I'm not a Democrat, and I'm not for all of his voting things, but I'm glad to see somebody stand up and say, let's do something about it. I would also like to see them maybe a new idea for Social Security. I just hate to think of what would happen, or what would I have if I put all that money in an IRA instead of in a Social Security. I'd be a millionaire.
Well, it all depends what you put it in.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about an IRA.
Yeah, you might have bought a lot of IBM stock at 160 a share.
No, I would have put it in a bank or something, but it's just at the simple interest that they're paying now, I'm sure I would have had a lot of money. I mean, you'd have to have the government looking over their shoulder to make sure they don't cheat you, but I think there's a lot of other ways of doing things, I think the government steps in and we pay $1 and we get 50 cents back, and I think that's part of the problem.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
591-8900, an open remainder of the program. The weather forecast: warm tonight with periods of showers tomorrow. Rain ending by the afternoon, but becoming windy and turning cooler. An overnight low about 53. A high tomorrow of around 55. The official temp, 52. Along the lakefront, 53 degrees. WLS Skyview traffic with Bill Keller is next.
And, Bob, we've got a problem on the Central Northwestern West line. It's train number 54 due to downtown at 5:10. This is an inbound train, not an outbound train. It struck a pedestrian in Melrose Park.
The inbound train was released, and it will be about 20 minutes late.
Now, it is not affecting the outbound side. That person has gone to a hospital now, so the inbound train is now on its way into the city. And again, it is not affecting those outbound trains. Northbound on Lakeshore Drive, it's slow from North Avenue up to Belmont. Southbound, jam Jackson and McFetrich. And again, Oakwood to 57th. The southbound Tri-State stacked out from the Stevenson down to the 83rd Toll Plaza. The east-west tollway westbound looks pretty good. Traveling into the city, it's jammed approaching the Ike. The inbound Eisenhower's got an accident near the Tri-State inbound. The westbound Northwest tollway slow from Lee to Mount Prospect. Outbound slow Toohey to Manheim. I'll have a complete update on the travel times in about 15 minutes. That's WLS Skyview Shadow Traffic.
Wednesday morning with Don Wade and Roma. I love Wednesday. It's hump day. Everything else is easy after that.
The benefit of bomb threats at O'Hare. Odd and curious views about Chicago events and people. A breakfast cereal problem with no answer, but several questions.
Plus, the story of the smoking gun.
I hope it works out the way I plan.
What does that mean?
Wednesday morning breakfast with Don Wade and Roma on WLS Talk Radio 890.
Look at Monica. Little Miss Joe had all the fat. Dyeing her fingernails so they bleed. How glamorous. What a waste case. She got an F on her midterm. Flunk out. Doesn't she care? She can't. Look at her. What a job. That grungy skirt is putrid. Oh, but drugs are so exciting. Watch it. Here she comes. Hi, Debbie. I'm Melissa. Isn't that a new skirt? It's really nice. Thanks. Let's go.
Presented by the Partnership for a Drug-Free America.
The opinions expressed on WLS Talk Radio 890 are those of the hosts, guests, and you, our callers.
WLS Talk Radio 890 engages in discussion of subjects of an adult and often intense nature. Parental discretion is advised.
Yeah, often we talk about things of an adult nature, but this is grammar school work, people. And there's something that you have not seemed to catch on to this afternoon, and if you go away with nothing else from this program, I want you to seriously consider the Republican philosophy of taxation. And that is that your dollar, you, the working class person's dollar, is better in the pocket of the wealthy person. That's trickle-down economics. The thinking is that you're just going to spend your money on beer and blue jeans and houses and cars, most of which will be made in America and actually create jobs. But that if we take your dollar away from you in more taxes and give it to the rich guy, he somehow spending the same dollar, it's going to be better for the economy. Now, he is more likely to take his dollar and buy a foreign expensive car and take the change and swap pieces of IBM stock back and forth between other wealthy people, tying up the money and not creating a cent, not creating a new job, not creating anything. That is the Republican philosophy of taxation. And when George Bush says, no new taxes, read my lips, he is A, lying to you, and B, what he is really saying is, hey, look, I know you can't pay anymore, but please understand, I don't want my rich friends to pay anymore either, because their money is better than your money. And rather than ask them to pay a little bit more and you to pay a little bit less, in other words, taking the buck out of their pocket and putting it into yours, no, that's just unacceptable, because they, myself and my rich friends, are so much smarter than you are. And when we spend our money, it does so much more good for the economy. You know, when we buy foreign boats and foreign cars, and when we sell back and forth to each other outrageously expensive homes that already exist, you know, that's better for the economy. When we just swap the money back and forth amongst ourselves than when you spend it. And then, like I said, if you go away with nothing else, remember that. And I would assume that if you're not in the top 5% of the income level in this country, and it doesn't take very much, by the way, to be in the top 5%, I would assume that shouldn't make much sense to you, that you think you could probably spend it better. They don't.
Commuter train hits pedestrian in Melrose Park. I'm Jim Johnson, WLS Talk Radio 890 News. Police and ambulances are still on the scene. A pedestrian's been hit on the Chicago and Northwestern West line. It happened near the Melrose Park Depot. Trains have been delayed. We'll have more in WLS Skyview Traffic at the end of this newscast. Still ahead, a Chicago police officer's been holed up all afternoon with a shotgun in a standoff with police on the south side. WLS Talk Radio 890 News Time, 5:29.
When you enter a conventional lease...
Mr. Lindsay, your car is ready.
Great. Hey, this is nice.
Enjoy.
You could be trapped.
What's going on?
For 5 long years. Which is why Audi offers the freedom of the Audi 3-year test drive.
It won't open.
In an exhilarating German luxury car like the Audi 100.
I can't get out.
There's the freedom of no charge for scheduled maintenance. For 3 years or 50,000 miles.
It won't open.
The freedom of no long-term commitment.
I'm getting very worried here.
Plus the freedom from worry. Because the Audi 100 offers the security of ABS brakes and driver's side airbag. Standard.
I can't take much more of this.
And after just 3 years, you're free. Free to get into another new Audi.
Would somebody please get me out of here?
The Audi 3-year test drive. An alternate idea in leasing from Audi. The alternate route.
See your dealer for complete details.
On the south side, police have the home of a fellow police officer surrounded this evening. We're told that an officer from the Englewood district is holed up inside her home with a shotgun, and she is threatening to kill herself. Police have the home surrounded. They're trying to talk her out of it with a bullhorn. They say that the officer has been having marriage problems. A Hobart, Indiana man, George Swetke, has been charged with murdering an Indiana police officer and his wife. The bodies of Lake County Sheriff Corporal Gary Rosser and his wife were found Sunday in a burned-out car. The chairman of the board of AT&T says they finally figured out what happened. It was a problem with a computer. A new program was being tried out. I would say it didn't work too well. You'll get a day discount for the problems yesterday at AT&T to make up for the mess. Did you try to fly out of O'Hare today or take somebody to the airport? What a mess, and it really hasn't ended. Dense fog stopped air travel for much of the day. This afternoon's light rain began breaking up the fog for a while, and air traffic resumed, but it is still touch and go. Let's check on WLS Skyview traffic. Bill Keller, how's the trip home looking?
And Stop and Go pretty much sums it up. Traveling outbound on the Kennedy, it's 40 minutes to Montrose, 56 out to the airport. Express lane still won't save you more than 10 minutes. Inbound, it's 46 from O'Hare to downtown. Big delays at O'Hare, up to 2 hours. At Midway, it's indefinite. They are postponing all outbound flights there indefinitely because of the fog. Heading out to the Stevenson, you can take your time getting to Midway. It's slow from the ride out to LaGrange. 41 minutes out to the Tri-State Tollway, the Dan Ryan 35 from downtown out to 95th. There's an accident on the inbound Eisenhower near the Tri-State. That's got traffic backed up into Des Plaines. And again, slow from Independence to Sacramento. Outbound, so Damon to Manheim. It's 48 minutes to get to Manheim. Also, that problem on the Central Northwestern's number 54 train that was due to downtown at 5:10, running about 20 minutes late because it struck a pedestrian near the Melrose Park Depot. And that train is on its way, should be into downtown momentarily. It never affected the outbound trains. I'll have more in 15 minutes. That's WLS Skyview Shadow Traffic.
In sports, not much going on. The Bulls and the Blackhawks have the night out. Night off. They'd probably go out, but they have the night off. WLS Talk Radio 890 weather next. Oh, no commercial. Right to me again. Rain and thunderstorms tonight. Continued mild. This warm spell's going to be around.
I tell you, it's a nightmare come true where you have the people singing your name. I do declare. Used to lay it. Well, that's another story. It's Tuesday, April the 4th, 1989, 12 minutes after the hour, 4 o'clock. Welcome back, hour number 2. This is a great Tuesday phone-off. May work, it may not. I'm not sure. It's up to you. You know, you're the ones who are basically sitting home listening to it. According to my notes here, a phone-off is an opportunity to, open a can of worms, hit and run. Yes, hit and runs are always popular. That's where you kind of call up and hang up before anybody can say anything. Any subject will do. For any reason. It's not really open phones. There's a major difference between a Tuesday phone off and open phones. I'll be damned if I know what it is, but there's nonetheless a major difference. It's an opportunity for questions and statements and comments and philosophical views and bigotry and idealism and nonsense. It's all these things I had written down here, and you get, in essence, basically a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes, maybe 3 if you're really good. And it would basically move fairly quickly if I really pull it off. The phones are lit, so... Okay, let's try this Tampa line. You're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Gary, Mad Dog?
Yeah?
My name is Gary. I'm a first-time caller for you. I like to say I like the show very much, and I've been listening to you for a while. I got one question I'd like to ask you. How come you kind of mellow down a little bit?
I don't believe I have, sir.
Okay, I guess I thought you did.
Well, how's that?
Well, usually you say get off my phone, you type person. I kind of once in a while have to hear that from you when you say that.
Well, I've probably already done so at least 3 times this week.
Well, I heard you, but not as much. I like another thing too, but the Grand Prix Car Wash.
Yeah.
I took my car there, and they did a fantastic job, and I'm going back every week.
Fantastic.
I like it very much.
Good.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Get off my phone, you first-time caller. Clearwater. Hi, Clear. You're on the air at 970 WFLA.
How you doing, Bob?
Oh, reasonable.
How are things going?
Reasonable.
You know what? Wait, were you listening to the news? The one that was just...
No, as a matter of fact, I wasn't. I was talking...
Some guy hiding out on a park bench. These 2 elderly people walked by, and he lunges out and stabs the guy in the butt.
Oh, on Bayshore.
And then he
I
goes
heard
on
that
to
earlier.
other things which are more disgusting. But I mean, people are crazy today. I mean, what's the world coming to?
Well, just this morning I was reading the newspaper, and the first article I started reading was about this apparently a black woman. What difference does it make up in New York City, up on the 21st floor, watching the sun come up? 2 people come up, pull out a gun, make her take off her clothes, they rape her, and then try to throw her off the damned roof. That's how I started my morning today. Then
yesterday in St. Pete, Sorry for interrupting.
No problem. It's, you know, we're both talking about the same thing, and it's just utter frustration.
Yeah. What was it? The one car, they're waiting at a red light at 1:30 in the morning somewhere, and a gang of kids came out from back behind a building and held the guy up at gunpoint and got him out of the car and kicked him around and took their money. I mean, this is at a red light.
I didn't see that specific story, but I've seen 1,000 just like it.
It's scary.
It sure is. This is literally an insane world that we live in. Nobody seems to have any responsibility for anybody else. No one seems to have... Well, it's not responsibility. That's not the right word. Any type of kinship. Every other living human being but yourself isn't real, because you couldn't do those things to real people.
No, that's right. They don't have a sense of reality. They don't... it's like kicking a sack of potatoes or something. They don't think it's a real person. They don't feel it. They're so frustrated that they just... they vent their frustrations in violence, and they don't... Well,
I'm not so sure I want to just fluff it off to, they're so frustrated anymore. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the solution is.
Are we saying do what we're talking about?
Yeah, I guess maybe we're doing the same things ourselves, huh? Except we don't kick people. We just verbally abuse them, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the problem is. I just know the reality. The reality is the world's going crazy.
It's not a matter of clamping down police-wise. It starts from within the person, within the family, within, something deep inside. Something is bothering people who are just going nuts like that. I mean,
is it? You think that's what it is?
Yeah, because I don't think you don't solve the problem from without. You don't punish the kid who is habitually doing bad things. It just makes them more angry, makes them more frustrated. They have a dysfunctional way of looking at the world and looking at themselves or something, and you have to look within them. You have to get to the bottom of it. I think that, that's why capital punishment. I don't know about that, but I don't know.
So it's why capital punishment? What?
No, I don't.
What are you going to say?
That's like way after the fact.
Well, yeah, it is. It's locking the barn door after the horse has run away. That's for sure.
People look at that and their initial reaction is, "Oh, that's good. We got that. We got that SOB." But
well, it's the same type of philosophy that groups like the NRA take when they say things like, don't take away guns. Punish the criminal after he uses the gun. Big deal. I will get no satisfaction whatsoever when I'm lying in my grave and the guy that shot me gets an extra 5 years tacked on for shooting me. I would get a great deal of satisfaction if I, didn't get shot because that guy didn't get a gun.
I was just thinking of something. I'm 30 years old, and I look at some of the memorabilia and stuff that my dad had when he was in college, back in the 50s. So it was that early 50s. And it seems like times, people, musical groups, when things were happier, nicer, people were nice. On a record album of a musical group, like whatever, they're smiling, they're dressed nice.
Like a cute little adult with her designer jeans on. We don't want our children to be children. We force these poor things to become adults at ridiculously young ages.
But that's just forcing a young kid to dress like an adult. The thing I question, why do young people today, kids today, want to look so strange, dress outrageously with the loud music?
I'll tell you what, if you can hold on for a couple of minutes, we'll come back and talk about it.
Okay.
All right, let me put things like Caesar salad, French onion soup, the wild turkey, maybe Bob's chili. No, it's not mine, but some other Bob at Howard's. All in the comfort and the luxury and the interesting surroundings of the new NCNB building in downtown Tampa, the new NCNB building. If you haven't been inside there yet, this is a great excuse to go in and peek around and have a dynamite lunch. Great food, large portions at Howard's. The same food that you'll find at 533 South Howard Avenue at the Howard's down there. Good people, good food, good service, good prices. Howard's. Tell them I sent you if you would, please. Back to the phones we go. It was line 5, I do believe. Am I right? Hello, line 5? It wasn't line 5, so let's put line 5 there. Well, you say it was line 7. Okay. Was it line 7?
Yes, it was line 7.
It was line 7. Okay. We were starting to talk about not letting children be children anymore. I'm sorry. I disagree with you. I think that's a major cause of many of the quote-unquote problems that we see today as we hurry our children up. Children have to take responsibilities that back in the 50s they didn't have to take, like getting themselves up and off to school and home safely and cleaning and shopping and so forth and so on.
But the thing is, okay, your theory, if you're using that theory, is if we're making these kids grow up too fast, and they should grow up and be responsible. Well, the thing is, at 15, 14, 16 years old, I mean, they're running wild. They're looking ridiculous, and I don't know. It's hard to describe.
Don't you remember back? Well, no, you don't. Of course, you weren't that old. But back in the 1950s, you know, not everybody looked like a Chad Mitchell trio. There were an awful lot of people, for example, who walked around in engineer boots and DA haircuts. That stood for Duck's ass. And sideburns down to your waist and on and on and on. There were a lot of strange-looking people then, too.
But it seems like, it seems like these kids today are grossly disrespectful to other people. They go out of their way just to bug people, and to be different, and to be loud, and to be noticed, and to be, I don't know.
Kids have always done that.
Maybe I'm just getting old, Bob.
Well, yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe,
well, I agree with you. You know, it was about your age, too, that I started feeling hopelessly alienated. Most of us live in relatively crowded areas. 25, 30, 50, 100, 200 years ago, it wasn't like that. But there has always been, whenever you put people in close proximity to each other, whenever you...
What they're doing.
Maybe it's because they don't have anything else.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gotta go, Bob.
Okay.
See you later, bye.
Don Richards standing by at the WFLA news desk. Don? Extra WFLA.
Hi, Bob.
Hi. The things I talk about, my audience think are pretty insignificant. So, you know.
Well, I don't think so, but I'm a newly registered voter, so I'm not used to receiving political mail in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other day I got a correspondence from our representative in the House of Representatives, and it was a poll.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I first received...
Was one of those polls things like, you know, are you in favor of motherhood?
Well, that's the thing. See, when I first sat down with it, I thought, oh, this is interesting. You know, they're actually soliciting my opinion. So as I started reading the questions, I found some of them confusing, but the last question really kind of bothered me, and I'll tell you exactly the way it was worded. It says, do you support a dropout receiving AFDC benefits, in parentheses, welfare and food stamps? Well,
Aid for dependent children.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first read that, it didn't quite.
By the way, welfare and food stamps are not AFDC.
I know that, and I didn't understand the question, so I thought in my mind, what are they really asking here? Are they asking should an unwed or...
By the way, which one of our delightful congressmen sent you this?
It's Sandra Mortham.
Sandra Mortham?
Yes, District 52.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant a congressional person.
Oh, no. The ask, Bob, was it seemed to be slanted in favor of people responding negatively to the question, whereas I think if it was, the question was stated more, you know, where people could understand it, they would have maybe said yes to the question, and I just kind of resent a slanted poll like that that's supposed to, you know, ask people's opinions. You know, it's like she's trying to put her...
I see it at all. What she's trying to do is to appeal to the senses of the largest, most aggressive voting bloc at this time, i.e. that new conservative element. I don't know that woman feels that way at all, but she's just trying to make real sure that this new massive voting bloc, about the only people who really are active these days, come away with the impression that they and she think the same. That's the way I would interpret it. The woman may be the most marvelous woman in the entire world, but she just wants to get reelected again.
Well, that could be. I was just afraid she'd go into the legislature with this opinion poll that really wasn't answered correctly if the question had been worded a different way, and it wouldn't really
first of all, you must understand. It's a Gary McHenry song. Time for a Gary McHenry WFLA Airborne Traffic Report. This one brought to you by Precision Tune, with locations in North Tampa, South Tampa, Brandon, and in Clearwater on Court Street.
I did not have my third roll. You've already had your third roll. I get my third roll. Hold on a second. I get my... Oh, good. I got my fours. Okay.
Wait. What's going on up there? Do you have somebody in the airplane?
I think Bob's going to me. Affected northbound.
An appointment with them to talk about their business. They were interested in doing commercials on this show. And so I said, sure, and we agreed to meet at a certain time in the morning. I think it was like 10:30. What difference does it make anyway? They start telling me about their business, and I'll be honest with you, I'm sitting there thinking, my God, this is really incredibly clever. I mean, we live in this age where people find the most ingenious ways to part other people from their money. And I'm serious. This is what's going through my mind, because these guys are talking about vacuuming my air conditioning ducts and selling me new filters. And I'm really sitting there thinking, unbelievable. And then I start thinking about what they're talking about. They're talking about weird things living inside of my house. Fungus, bacteria, mold, old dust, dirty air, pollen, smoke. Germs floating around inside my house. And your house, and virtually everyone's house and place of business, because more and more and more, these homes, these businesses are becoming sealed environments. And we just keep breathing the same air over and over and over again. And I know how lazy I am when it comes to changing my filter. Yeah, I do. And probably you, too. And what these gentlemen were talking about can be called indoor pollution, sick building syndrome. And it's for real. The company is called Master Care Maintenance. Master Care Maintenance. The phone number is 1-800-442-DUST. What they do is they will come in, vacuum the inside of your air conditioning ducts, spray a sealant to seal in anything that the vacuuming can't take out, and replace your ordinary filters with super filters that will block almost everything. Master Care Maintenance. If you want to get rid of the indoor pollution inside of your house. The best way to find out if you have it is to have your air tested. They'll do that for you. Send it off to an independent lab. Or just sit back and think about how many colds, how many flus seem to pass through your house. Master Care Maintenance, 1-800-DUST. Back to the phones. It is Tampa. Hi, Tampa. You're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hey, Bob.
Hey.
You know, there's a lot of different names for the same thing, isn't there?
A lot of different things for the names for the same thing, I suppose. What you have in mind?
Well, like open phones and phone off and anything goes. And
Yep.
What I want to run past you today, I know on the books is illegal, but laws change.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an old law, I guess, in the U.S. But maybe you could tell me what's wrong with multiple spouses?
What's wrong with multiple spouses? I don't know that there's anything wrong with it. It's just that society has decided for one reason or another that they don't want anything to do with it.
Well, you think it'd work in America?
Well, it exists to a degree in some areas.
How's that?
Well, it does. There are areas out in the West, in particular where Mormons live, where there are some people. There's actually a community, at least one that I'm aware of, where there are multiple spouses.
But you got to be Mormon, huh? Or live with the Mormons?
No, as a matter of fact, it's against the state law. It's just that it's kind of, excused. They look at it in the other way.
Oh.
Or look the other way at it.
I think we ought to reconsider.
Well, why is that?
Well, it might help out some things. Like
how would it help out some things? The ratio is pretty close to 1-to-1.
Well, there's still a lot of single people out there.
Yes, but they're single by choice there, as a general rule of thumb.
I think most men cheat on their wives for variety and
yes, sir, but they're actually cheating with other people's wives.
Is that right?
Well, it's the way it would pretty much have to work out, statistically.
You don't think most of it's prostitution?
No, sir, I don't think most of it's prostitution.
Most of it's other cheating spouses?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Bob. Well, I wouldn't mind it if we had something like that. That sounds pretty cool to me.
Okay.
See ya.
Take care. 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas. Off it is now to Tampa. Hi, Tampa. You're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hello, will you hold?
No, I won't.
All right, then, bye.
Bye. Let's try this Tampa line. You're on the air at 970 WFLA. Hello, Tampa. Tampa once, Tampa twice, Tampa bye-bye. Let's go to Lakeland. Hi, Lake. You're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
I'm some of that new blood calling.
Okay.
I enjoyed that last week. That was a great week.
Thank you.
When you talked about that lady that fell off the 21st floor,
yeah.
Did you catch Paul Harvey's discussion of that story yesterday?
No, I didn't.
He described it in great detail, how she was raped and stripped and thrown off and saved by the cables and then rescued, and how at the end of his commentary he said she was wearing nothing except her rosary beads.
Oh, my goodness.
And this is kind of something I go back and forth with my wife, talking about how, God saved her, and yet
the rosary beads didn't stop her from getting raped first, so...
Yeah, and on top of that, I wonder how many people died yesterday wearing their rosary beads or their cross that Paul failed to mention.
Exactly, or how many people didn't get raped by not wearing
it's like our beloved president, well, our past former president. I recall vividly one day there was an airline hijacking. 17 people were killed out of something like 41, and our beloved president said, "Thank God it was only 17."
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, I use a lot of your quotes, and when I get home and my wife runs off to church and asks the pastor, how to answer them, and I get a kick out of the response that she brings back. I use the eye for the eye and tooth for a tooth, and then in the New Testament thing you used last week. That scampered her off for about a couple hours, so we got her out of the house for a little while. She didn't have a good answer when she got back, so I have to think of another one for her.
Oh, pity.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to mention to you, did you read in USA Today last week about Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth being husband and wife in real life?
No, I didn't know they were married, to tell you the truth.
Well, that's what USA Today says, right?
Well, I know that they lived together. I knew that, but I didn't know that they were actually married.
I certainly hope that didn't burst anyone's bubble as far as, how legitimate wrestling is.
Well, I certainly would hope so, too.
Because I certainly like your approach to it,
Yeah. That's the best. Everything that I do is the best.
That's right. I think so.
Thank you, my young friend.
All right. Thank you, Bob.
Be good.
All right. Bye.
I love that new blood. Don Richards standing by at the WFLA news desk. Speaking of blood. 970 WFLA.
Hey. How you doing, Bob?
Oh, reasonable.
I'm trying to get my brother talked into that Grand Prix car wash.
And what's the problem there?
He goes four-wheeling every weekend just about, and he gets his truck all muddy and stuff, but I'm going to get him to go over there.
Well, you should.
The prices must be pretty reasonable, huh?
Prices are reasonable, and the work is fantastic.
That's good. You take your Continental over there?
Yes, I do.
I ride a bicycle, personally. That was my subject for today, is bicycle riding in Tampa is really crazy. I mean, if you want to have an experience, get out there on that two-lane road and find yourself between these big semi-trucks and oncoming vehicles. It's
well,
really...
my life is exciting enough as it is. I don't really think I need to add that for an experience.
No way.
So I'll just kind of take your word on it, if you don't mind.
Oh, well, let me ask you, is that the Renaissance Festival, is that coming up this weekend?
No, it's the following weekend, April 15th.
Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing you there. I saw you on TV. You look very nice. You're a good guy.
Well, thank you very much.
Take care.
You too. It is the Tuesday phone off. The only lines available are in Hillsborough, and there are a hell of a lot of them available suddenly for the moment in Hillsborough at 990-9352, 990-WFLA. St. Petersburg. Hi there, Saint. You're on the air.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
Oh, I don't want to talk about car washes, but I want to talk about whitewash today.
Okay.
Well, let's back up and say that I just had another enjoyable experience today in the Pinellas County court system.
Okay.
And my troubles are that I was shaken down over a year ago by the Largo Police Department, beloved True Blue, and seems that one of these guys that was an arresting officer subsequently handcuffed a young lady and took his pleasures out on her in his cruiser. And now they can't produce him in court. I'm sure that other people out there are having, like similar trouble.
What do you mean they can't produce him in court? Why not?
Apparently he's underground. He's either split or being hidden.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know if he's been formally charged with rape. But seems that the state should be able to produce him as a witness in my particular case, as well as many others that are...
Well, the sad fact of the matter is that hundreds and probably thousands of people charged with crimes in this country just disappear into thin air.
That's so, but he's been rumored to have been seen in the community.
Well, just because he's been rumored to be seen in the community, I'm not trying to be a hard-nose here, but, I know this is very, very important for you and the other people involved in it, the so-called victims, but you must understand that there are hundreds of thousands of people charged with crimes every year in this country, and the police department's resources are but so deep and no deeper. And you have to go with priorities. And while it may be awfully important to you, and it should be very important to all of us, I don't mean to minimize or trivialize the case. It's a matter of priorities. You go for what you have.
What do you mean what you have? Like what you've got? Like
what you can solve. You know, you go for where your resources are the strongest, where your chances are the best for a conviction. You know, the police department isn't much different than any other kind of business. They've got to put their resources where they stand the best chance of a return.
Yeah, okay. I can appreciate your bringing it down to a fiscal sort of analogy.
It's almost what it is, I'm sorry to tell you.
Yeah, I can really appreciate that because it seems to be a revenue-generating sort of industry.
It's not a matter of revenue generating. It's simply, if the police department doesn't solve X% of the crimes committed in your community, then you're going to be really distraught with the police department. So therefore, they've got to go for the ones where they stand the best chance of solving them.
Well, does that mean to include the manufacture of various violations, regardless of how hairline they might be? I mean, maybe they're real, maybe they're not, maybe they're trumped.
I don't know what you're talking about. You know, now you're starting to get a little bit vague on me here. You had your say, I had mine in rebuttal. It's the best I can possibly do. I'm not trying to whitewash anything, and I hope nobody else is either. But, my friend, I've got to run along for this time.
I don't know, Bob.
Oh, okay.
I didn't hear anything.
Neither did I, guess.
No.
News Radio 970 WFLA at the 10th Annual Bay Area Renaissance Festival in Largo. Underway every weekend through April 16th. We're giving away plenty of tickets so that you'll have a chance to take a trip back in time with the king, the queen, the rat catcher, and the wenches to the sights and sounds and even the flavor of the Renaissance era. You can use your tickets any weekend, but you might want to save them for the Fool's Fantasy on Saturday, April 15th, as our own mad dog, Bob Lassiter, broadcasts live and leads the parade of fools. Be listening for you to vacuuming and having a good time vacuuming. I don't buy it, Lassiter, and I really can't blame the man. I can't blame anybody for not believing me or, frankly, anybody else saying, you got to try this thing to believe it. I'm talking about the Auric XL. That's what I have at the house. It's the exclusive, the original 8-pound hotel cleaning machine, and there's no other way to phrase it than a cleaning machine. The Auric vacuum cleaner. He was referring to the first commercial I did for Auric. I was telling everybody about how I brought it home the first day, and Mary and I almost now, come on, give me a break, fought each other for the pleasure of running an Auric vacuum cleaner. There's no way to describe it to you. You have got to try it for yourself, which means you've got to go to one of the Auric floor care centers. 13230 North Dale Mabry in Tampa. That telephone number is 264-1937, or 2454 McMullen Booth Road in Clearwater. You know, for years, Auric has been telling you about that amazing 8-pound Auric XL hotel vacuum, about its unique top-fill design, its powerful high-speed motor, its deep cleaning brush action, and its lightweight. You know, you gotta believe it. You gotta try it for yourself. But you still haven't bought yours yet, have you? Well, wait no longer. Buy one of the 8-pound Auric XL show models for only $259.95 and get the 4-pound companion vacuum. That's the Buster B show model, absolutely free, plus a year's supply of bags for both. The total savings of $252. 13230 North. Oh, hi, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Yeah, hi, Bob.
Hi.
Reference President Bush's competence and decision-making processes. Most obvious example being his selection of J. Danforth Quayle as vice president. And I begin to wonder if this guy is ranked somewhere around Warren Harding or President Grant with a hangover.
Whoa, what are you picking on Bushy for? Why not pick on the people that voted for him?
Well,
I mean, Jay Danforth wasn't announced after the election. It was before.
Right. But still...
I mean, this guy ran an entire campaign on, I'll say more Pledge of Allegiances, and I promise not to let criminals go, as though it was the president's prerogative to let criminals go. I mean, come on. Jump on the people that voted for him, not for Bushy.
I hear what you're saying, but...
Now, wait a second. Have you ever applied for a job?
Sure.
Well, of course you have. Everybody has. And virtually everybody who has ever applied for a job lied through their teeth to one degree or another. Oh, yeah, my last boss really loved me.
Yeah, but I'm not
Unfortunately,
quite
he
telling about that,
died.
Bob.
You can't call him up to verify.
Well, all Bush did was what you and I do when we're going for a job interview. Lie through his teeth.
Bob, am I wrong in my impression, do you think? Give me some counsel on that. Could you please?
Wrong in your impression?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I don't know whether or not, his decision-making abilities are flawed. Would I grease the palm here, grease the palm there, put a person into a position here to pay off an old debt, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? I don't think that I've seen anything yet on the part of Bush that I could make such a judgment on as to whether or not his decision-making abilities are impaired.
Bob, at your worst, well, you or anybody else, who could have come up with Jay Danforth as their vice president?
As much as I dislike...
I hate to come down on your heart, okay?
As much as I dislike Mr. Quayle, and I do dislike Mr. Quayle, as much as Mr. Quayle scares me, and he does scare me, I can think of worse possibilities that we might have had. Bush had no choice but to put in a screaming, loony right-winger. He had no choice. We could have gotten Pat Robertson. Oh, that ought to keep you awake at night. We could have gotten John Tower. Whoa!
Oh, I would like John much better than... Oh, I would. I can handle John. I can work with that.
Well, it could have been worse. The problem is...
It could have been worse.
Yeah, I think it could have. And, that's not to say I like Quayle. I don't. Quayle's enough to give anybody goosebumps.
Yeah, but it could have been worse.
There are people around that could give you boils.
Oh, Bob, you're stretching now. It could have been worse.
It could have. Believe it or not.
But do you kind of generally agree with my premise or not?
I don't know yet is what I'm saying. I haven't seen enough to be able to come across with a concrete yes or no. That's what I'm saying. I'm concerned, okay? But I haven't seen enough. I got to run, speaking of being concerned and speaking of right-wing lunatics and things to give you boils and nightmares, Don Richards is standing by, so...
Okay, fine.
Okay. Don Richards of the WFLA News Desk.
That's actionable. 970 WFLA News brought to you by Midway Airlines. Their spirit will lift you. Tampa Coalition backing plans.
On a Tuesday phone off. Not exactly precisely the way I had envisioned it, but a hell of a lot better than it could have been. According to my notes here, questions, statements, comments, philosophical views, bigotry, idealism, nonsense, whatever for a Tuesday phone off. It's not open phones. It's a phone off, okay? 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas. Van Ortner has been cooperating marvelously all afternoon. However, there are lines available at this point.
Suddenly dawned on me, you see, I keep playing all of these Cool People's musical bridges coming back from the breaks. No wonder I'm having such a hard time this morning. I should play something a tad more appropriate for the audience that I have to deal with. Newport Richie, hi, you're on the air at WPLP.
Good morning, Mad Dog.
Well, good morning, Pussycat.
Are you doing penance this morning?
Penance? This is worse than penance.
I'm glad. I have a suggestion for something
I'd rather
really...
sit in old Sparky for 3 hours.
I have a suggestion for something really exciting for your audience to do this weekend. They ought to drive up here to Newport Richie and join the caravan to see the Reverend Richard Dorch's home on the Gulf.
Is that anywhere near you?
You bet. In fact, my neighbors are so mad they're beginning to get up petitions. They're saying things like, there goes the neighborhood.
Have you ever noticed what scumbags we draw down here? Richard Dorch, Donald Regan.
It's terrible. I mean, but the interesting thing is...
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Mad Dog, you know what? My neighbors didn't get so excited at first about Dorch because they were saying things like, what's a little hush money to a conservative virgin, you know. I mean, they weren't really uptight about that. But when they found out that he was taking 2 homestead exemptions, then they really got furious.
Double Dipper Dorch.
Oh, yes. But it is exciting, and that guy who has Tears by Tammy could make a fortune if he came up here and stood on the corner in front of Dorch's house.
Well, there's probably something else you could sell, and no doubt you could get more of them. That is tax-exempt applications.
Oh, absolutely.
Signed by Richard Dorch.
That would sell big, too. We had a busload of...
You think that's a heavy charge? Wait till the book comes out.
I think for someone
And also, I was listening to the news person of the week on ABC.
Uh-huh.
He had the woman who turned in the conservative fundraiser. Oh, what's his name?
Oh, grief. Begins with a C.
Yeah.
But I cannot think of it off the top of my head.
The amazing thing is
Which is
people
terrible.
who talk patriotism and stopping the communists and whatever, she said her most telling thing that really upset her about him was when they took a trip to Germany and he was very much a fan of Adolf Hitler.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. She said that he said lots of flattering things about Hitler. Big fan of his. And I'm sort of a person that sits back and looks and watches.
You know, that really shouldn't be surprising because here is a man who has no respect or regard whatsoever for our own system of laws. So why not?
Don't you think, though, that true conservatives, you are blaming a lot of times the Christians for not speaking out against the TV evangelists?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you also think those true conservatives out there who basically believe in the literal interpretation of the Constitution, those people should be speaking out against these neo-Nazis, these far-right, these Wildmans and people such as this?
Yes, they should be.
That's
yes,
where
indeed, they should be.
Because there's a lot of conservative points of view.
And I can only think of one who has, and that's Barry Goldwater. And Barry is an old man and just not able to really get involved in any type of ongoing campaign.
That is true. And even someone who is going to be most likely the Republican nominee, George Bush, who should be speaking out, is instead crawling in bed with these people.
Oh, well, George, who knows where George Bush stands? It changes every 4 years.
I think definitely you can see which way he's headed. But I was just curious because in Miami it was a big topic of conversation that a person who speaks so strongly about the family and about religion and about good returning...
From the WPLP News Center, I'm Mike Innes to WPLP Radio. Now, just think, what would happen if everybody you knew were to become as smart and well-informed as you and had your good taste? Why, there's no end to what we could accomplish. So quickly and tastefully, tell everyone you know about WPLP. Tell them about the Bay Area's most interesting, most informative, most entertaining radio station and what it's meant to you. And soon, we'll all be better off for it. Thank you for telling a friend about WPLP.
Gentlemen, may I present to you the scourge of the shuffleboard set, the man the Trailer Court Association would like to run out of town, Tampa Bay's top banana of talk, the monstrous Mad Dog Bob Lassiter.
10 minutes after the hour of 11 o'clock, welcome back to the merciful third and final hour for the Saturday morning, the second day in the month of May, 1987. A couple of notes to pass along. The parking lot at the Kmart is all congested. We recommend that you go either to the Family Mart or to Scotty's. The Buckeye Bucks won the shuffle-off this morning against the Minnesota Masters at the Pink Pelican Trailer Court. The Rocket 88 Antique Car Club will be meeting this afternoon in the parking lot at Biff Burgers in St. Petersburg. There's a Tupperware seminar going on as we speak in Largo, but there's still time to get over to that. And the Avon Bottle Collectors Association will be meeting at the Moose Lodge in Lutz. They'll be displaying many Avon bottles, some of them dating back as far as 1973. That should be exciting. They're the kind of things going on in Tampa Bay this weekend. We just thought we'd bring them to you. Here's a news item. This is for real, too. The U.S. Department of Agriculture will spread thousands of sterile screwworms around a 50-mile area centered on Miami International Airport tomorrow morning. The project is designed to stop a possible outbreak of the pest in the Miami area. God knows we don't want any screwworms running around. Gulfport, you're on the air, WPLP.
Hi there.
Hi there.
Cool people don't get up in the morning. Bob, some nights I don't even go to bed.
Well, all right. You sound like a cool person.
Well, I'm a crazy lady.
But then I've talked to many people this morning who never go to bed.
Oh, hey, they're my kind of people.
That's half the problem with them.
Party people, huh?
Party people, right.
Yeah, I can't get over the fact that we haven't heard from any priests about why they... no, don't go outdoors, sweetheart. It's my little girl from next door. She's naked.
Oh, I thought you were talking to your husband or something.
She's a beauty. But anyway, her mother probably doesn't know where she is. She lives here half the time. I dig kids. But anyway, I got to talk about Reagan. He's the only president we've ever had who talks so much about religion, and he's never gone to church. But I'll get Tim on that this afternoon. And, Bob, when are we going to have our party at Gulfport?
Have our party at Gulfport?
Yeah, we've got terrific music.
How could you party at Gulfport?
We've got to have our party because, we've got this terrific music every day.
The only kind of party I know of in Gulfport's a Tupperware party.
Hey, listen, we've got good music on Wednesdays and Thursdays from the big bands.
Oh, really?
Some terrific. Oh, my God. Patty can really belt out a song. She's super. And you could use my house as a modus operandi. I'm right across the street.
I beg your pardon?
You can use my house as a modus operandi.
That just takes my breath away.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Why would it?
I don't know, but it just does.
I'm just sorry Mary got you first. But anyway...
Well, it wasn't first, but she got me.
Oh, she's got you, baby. She's got you. I can tell. But listen, I would like some of those so-far petitions, but I'm a very busy broad. Could you mail me about 14 if I hang on?
If you hang on?
Yeah, baby, I'll hang right in there because I can get 14, no problem for a crazy lady.
Okay, I'll put you on hold and Michael will get your address.
Thank you, baby.
All right.
Y'all come.
There we go.
If we don't have the party on the beach, we're going to have one at my house.
Okay.
Bye, love.
Put you on hold. There you go. Tampa, you're on the air at WPLP.
Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
I have always wondered what cool meant when it referred to people, but now I have figured it out. On the thermometer, 40 to about 55 is considered cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we take that and equate that with the IQ chart, 40 to 50 would be about right on that. And from your dissertation this morning, I can only say, keep cool, Bob. When ignorance
this woman's
is
trying to
bliss,
insult me.
it's folly to be wise.
This woman is definitely trying to insult me. Definitely trying to insult me. Of course, she has sat there and listened to it for 2 hours and 15 minutes now. Pinellas Park, hi, you're on the air at WPLP.
Top of the morning to you, or what is it, morning or night? I don't know yet.
Well, I think the sun's about ready to come up now.
Is that what that is? It's hurting my eyes?
I believe so.
Hey, look, I heard on the program last night you recommended a pizza place to a young lady about 10 o'clock. Or
Yes, sir, Vesuvio's.
Vesuvio's, right. So I jumped the car and went down there, and I got to say, fella, you got good taste.
Best pizza that I've encountered in the area.
We've been looking for a place for a long time. Most of these places don't know the first thing about how to make one, and I stood there and watched them put it right on the rock and cook it right on the rock. And I figured, okay, we're going to get a pizza, and boy, we did. It was delicious. I thought I'd pass that on, that I appreciate your good taste in food.
You're quite welcome. They've never disappointed me. I've had perhaps 3 or 4 dozen pizzas from there. They're always exactly the same, and they're always delicious.
Well, they're real nice people, too. I got to talk to the man and wife and the 2 little boys there.
Ah, yes, Angelo and his wife.
Yeah, and, but by the way, these holy people,
Uh-huh.
the TV evangelists, too, I just have to flip through my mind. They're so holy, but I'm surprised nobody can see through them.
How's that?
Well, if you're holy, you ought to be able to see through you, right?
I see. Kind of like Swiss cheese.
Yeah, that's about it. Yep. And about Ronnie and Nancy.
Yes.
Years ago in the gun club up in Chicago, there was a couple that used to come there, and they were trying to educate all the shooters in the club that everybody should be socially inclined, if you know what I'm saying. And they would appear in his and her ski suits, and they dressed alike, and they remained aloof from the rest of us common people.
Mm-hmm.
And in all these years, I never forgot that couple until Ronnie and Nancy got in the White House, and I thought, my God, there's an exact duplicate of that pair in Chicago. And I guess from the way the books are being written, I had them about figured right.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Take care, my boy.
I'll try.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
So long.
I'm in desperate need of cool callers. And I've gone through 2 hours and 15 minutes of agony this morning. Agony, all these uncool people. And now I know that cool people don't get up at 9 o'clock in the morning, but the cool people should be starting to get up by now. Let me give you the telephone numbers. Hillsborough, 224-0057. Pinellas, 393-0057. See, I'm not used to dealing with the kind of people that get up at 9 o'clock in the morning. Whew. St. Petersburg, you're on the air at WPLP.
Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
How you doing, Bob?
Fine. Are you a cool person?
Oh, I have to be after you hear the news that was on this morning.
Okay.
Tammy and Jim was on Good Morning America and advertising, begging people to give him a job. This Jim, he got a job offer for a salesman for $22,000 a year.
Right, at WQNY in Ithaca, New York.
Or QZoo. And Tammy, she asked all the doctors throughout the United States, if they had an opening for her, she'd like to work in a doctor's office.
I think that would be an excellent place for her.
Yes, sir. It'd be a supplier, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I tell you, that bunch is nuts. You know they're going to come out smelling like a rose.
You think so?
Well, they couldn't. I don't know. There's so many gullible people. They're going to come out of this richer than they've ever been. You watch.
Well, they should get a very hefty advance on their book.
Oh, I tell you.
I'd read the book.
Oh, I wouldn't waste my money on it.
Well, I'm not going to waste my money. What I'll do is, I'm fortunate I have the kind of job where we can contact the publisher and ask them to send us a copy.
Well, that's the only way I'd read it. That they're going to come out...
Well, I'll pass it along to you when I'm finished.
Huh?
I'll pass it along to you when I'm finished with it.
Oh, bless you. We'll...
The radio, and it's really confusing these kids. There's a delayed reaction.
That's right, Nat.
I have to get out of the room because I'm confusing myself.
Yes, you should.
I'd like to do my Edith Bunker imitation.
Uh-huh.
Okay, can I do it?
What are you having for lunch this afternoon, Nat? Spam, egg salad, and tang?
No. Oh, yeah, I inhaled it. I used to shake it up and put it in front of my brother's face, and the mist would suffocate him.
What, the egg salad?
No, the tang.
Tang. You used to inhale tang.
Well, no, I used to, oh, well, anyway.
Well, that's okay. When I was young, we used to smoke banana skins, but that's okay,
Yeah, I've heard about that, yeah.
I'll bet you have.
But,
you ever tried it, Nat?
I was just over, no.
Do you have any bananas in the house?
Excuse me?
Do you have any bananas in the house?
No, I don't.
Well, what do you have? What kind of fruit do you have?
We have, oh, wait, my dad has a garden. We have vegetables, and we have, all kinds
Do you have any carrots in the vegetable garden, Nat?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you take up some carrots, grind them up very finely, let them sit out in the sun for a couple of hours until they get good and dry, wrap them in newspaper and smoke them.
Hey, that's great. That's a great idea. No, I'm not really into drugs or anything. But,
well, it's not drugs. They're carrots.
Tammy Baker, was the winner of that
She's into drugs.
contest that you were talking about.
Uh-huh.
And I saw her rubbing, lotion on one of the lifeguards, and I don't know, I didn't want to tell anybody about it. But do you want to hear my Edith Bunker imitation? Because
Your Edith Bunker imitation?
I mean, is that all right with you?
Oh, sure.
Okay, here we go.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Archie, Gloria. Oh.
Is that good or what?
Oh, that is, or what?
Yeah, I do imitations once in a while.
You do? Who else do you do, Nat?
I do my father, which irritates him a great deal.
Let's hear that.
Son. Well, he uses profanity, so I want to use it on the radio.
Oh. Well, I'll tell you what. Substitute the word cheesecake for the profanity. Let's hear your father again.
Cheesecake. Oh, why'd you do that, son? You messed everything up. Well, it's not very good, but,
Well, we've never heard your father before. How do we know whether it's good? Sounded better than the Edith Bunker.
Oh, I know. Oh, it did?
Sure.
Oh, I thought you liked it. Oh, well. This is insane. I've never...
What is it with you? What is it? No, seriously.
It's got to do with drinking.
Really?
Yeah.
Spent $1 for 3 tapes. But they didn't have any cheap tapes in Crazy 8. They had those 60s that Joel would like. Maybe he might even make a special trip out there. I'm sure.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I don't know anything about baseball, Billy. That guy was a football player, wasn't he? He was a basketball. They know. It's all sports.
Do something. We'll strike a bargain. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think just talking about the problem with yourself, I think, helps in some ways.
Absolutely. Because you're the only one that can solve your problems.
Exactly. And also, when you had the comment about...
Or find a way around them. There are many problems that we have that we can't solve. The breakup of a marriage, for example. You can't solve it, but you can find a way around it.
Just to see what's going on.
If it catches your interest.
If it starts getting really good, I'll start watching it. Like if it gets, like
if it was down to the 7th game.
Easy tackle because I've prayed to God not to break my leg.
Oh, boy. I enjoy your program, Bob. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
North Tampa, you're on the air, WPLP.
Hello, Bob.
Hi.
I want to compliment you very much on your monologue.
Thank you.
It shows a very, very brilliant mind that made that study.
No, not really. It just shows common sense, sir.
Well, it is. It's really common sense, and it's the best explanation and reasoning that I have ever heard. And I agree that religion is the opiate of the people, and the sooner that they realize that and start depending on themselves and throw aside all these superstitions, etc., then they will find true peace of mind and freedom. That's the way I feel about it. I certainly agree with you 100%. There's no proof whatsoever that any prayer has ever been answered. And I don't believe they have.
I'm not aware of one. There is no documentation, to the best of my knowledge, of any prayer ever being answered.
That's right. That's right.
There are lots of things that have happened for which there is no explanation, but that in and of itself is no proof of God or answered prayers.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I just wanted to say I agree with you 100%. And I appreciate...
Should be just like the work week, and sports director Nancy Donnellan previews the Kentucky Derby tomorrow morning between 5:30 and 9 on the WPLP Morning News.
They'll be talking about him tomorrow morning in trailer court recreation halls all over Tampa Bay, but you can listen to him live tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present Bob Lassiter.
7 minutes after the hour of 9 o'clock. Welcome back. Hour number 2 for Thursday night, April the 30th, 1987. We're talking about our devout friends tonight and their convoluted thinking. You see, our devout friends believe that everything in this life goes according to God's plan, and yet they're constantly petitioning God to change his plan. That's what prayer is. Prayer is a petition. And when you're praying to God for something that you want, something that you don't have, something that is apparently not in God's perfect plan, you're saying to God, hey, God, I don't like the way you're doing things. You know, God, get your act together, man. Hey, listen up here. Do it my way, God. Which seems to me to be awfully, awfully foolish. And it would seem to me that it should be awfully foolish to anyone who spent 30 seconds thinking about it. St. Petersburg, you're on the air at WPLP.
Yes, sir, Bob. You can't discredit God, Jesus Christ, or the Holy Ghost by the...
Sir, it's not my intention it is not my intention to discredit God, Jesus Christ, or the Holy Ghost. I'm trying to discredit his foolish followers.
Before you get mad and hang up, the thing is, I'm going to say again, you shouldn't try to discredit God, Jesus Christ.
I'm not trying to, sir. I'm trying to discredit you as a believer.
Well,
because you obviously don't think about what it is that you believe.
Well, calm down. Don't get mad. You remind me of somebody...
Sir, don't you tell me how to run my show or how to run my life.
Are you insecure?
That's a good way to get gone. You know what I mean?
You're insecure about your position now.
No, I'm not insecure. I'm not the one that runs around playing.
Then why won't...
Or praying, excuse me.
Let me finish. Why don't you ever let someone finish you?
Because I hold conversations with people, sir. You know, if you're going to make charges, then you're going to have those charges answered.
Well, you wouldn't let me finish making the charge. Now, let me go back before the news came on. You said we had all these, what'd you call them, atheists or...
agnostics, I believe, sir.
Yeah, well, now you got a real live guinea pig to work.
Well, go for it, baby. You answer what I said.
There you go, insulting me.
No, I'm not insulting you, but you...
Bob.
I'm going to warn you one last time. You answer what I said, or you are history.
What was your...
Can you understand that? Can you understand that real close? You answer what I said in my monologue, or you are history.
What is your problem, Bob?
History. St. Petersburg, you're on the air at WPLP.
Hello, Bob.
Hi.
Yeah, you do not discredit God. You do not discredit Jesus Christ or the Holy Spirit. My opinion that institutional Christianity and its neurotic understanding of that word and failure even to get into it presents practices and attitudes that are as far away from being followers of those concepts as any of I've seen. They don't really even understand prayer because they can't understand it because they've never got together even the first teaching that he gave on the Sermon on the Mount, Blessed are the poor.
Well, it seems to me that one of the main purposes of prayer, as I understood it when I was going to church, was to thank God for what I had, not to ask him for what I didn't.
It's very interesting to me that he said all of your needs are known before you even ask. You know that as well as I do. You've read the gospel thoroughly. You also know thoroughly that he gave really one prayer. And these folks go around out of their own headspace and their own psyches and their own trips, laying down kind of pietistic phrases from themselves and from their own needs, and they say them and pronounce them in front of groups and so forth. They're not into the teachings of Joshua.
Well,
they don't follow any of it. Bob.
Let's go through that prayer. Let's go through that prayer line by line. I assume, obviously, you're talking about the Lord's Prayer.
Can I go through from the Greek with you?
Sure.
And from the Greek syntax, it is, Our Father in the skies, let your name be sanctified. Let your kingdom come. Let your will take effect on earth as in the skies.
Well, that would seem to me that one line should shoot down asking God to change his mind.
Exactly. Give us this day our substantive bread. Forgive us our debts
as we forgive our debtors. Carry us not into trial, but deliver us from misery's stream. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory eternally. Amen. Which is truly. And that's the word. And if a people go through those concepts one by one and feel them, meditate upon them, if they are indeed have chosen to believe in God and follow Christ, and really do what the brother says, there wouldn't be any space for all these trips and sending cards and playing church in the world. They would know the awesome seriousness of that commitment and the real cost of discipleship.
And the stupidity of telling God that his perfect plan ain't so perfect, and would he mind changing it?
That's exactly right, Bob. I think one other point I would like to bring out, I've been kind of watching the PTL along with all the events that have been going on. The other day they had this Forgiven event going, and they were asking people to send in names of people that they have forgiven.
Well, along with the
And
check.
I think that's ludicrous, for them to go around and pick names of people that they want to forgive and send them in, and perhaps even a little story along with why they have forgiven them. I just don't think that that's appropriate, and I don't think there's any dignity in that action, and I don't even think it's anything near Christ-like.
Well, as I recall the scriptures, I can't exactly quote, but I'll paraphrase to the best of my ability, which isn't terribly great. But my understanding of forgiveness was you have to confront the person with whom you have a gripe and forgive him face-to-face, in private.
That's exactly right. And prayer is in your secret heart, too, not something that is put out on mail boards and names thrown on out and open. These folks are so into some sort of hyped trip that they're in. They might as well be, I wish they'd all get jobs selling Amway, and they could do the same thing and the same materialism, the same trip, only it'd be more honest. They'd really be selling the product and living the material kind of trip they want to live. They have rallies.
And then at least we'd be getting something.
He's Amway.
But then at least we'd be getting something of value in return, too.
That's exactly right.
Soap or whatever it is, brushes.
Yeah. And those are my feelings, Bob.
Thank you much.
Okay, take care.
Pinellas Park, your turn at WPLP. Hello, Pinellas Park.
You lost me there. All right, I want to say, first of all, to the guy who called in and said something that you can know no sorrow before you know joy. That's taken from Khalil Gibran, who wrote The Prophet in the early 1900s, who is a member of the Muslim faith, not the Christian faith. And also, I would like to say, I'd like to put to the point to you about the Serenity Prayer. Are you familiar with it?
No, I'm not.
All right, it's very common among Alcoholics Anonymous, and it goes, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Now, that is asking God to change his will.
Well, if God has a perfect plan and you're an alcoholic, I can only assume that was part of his plan.
I'm not an alcoholic at all.
I wasn't referring to you. That was an editorial you. If God has a perfect plan and you find yourself an alcoholic, then I can only assume that was part of his plan and you're asking him to change his mind.
Not at all.
Oh, really?
Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change.
No, you're telling me about the prayer. I'm telling you about reality.
Pardon?
You're telling me about the prayer. I'm telling you about the reality of the religion. The religion says everything goes according to God's perfect plan. So it must have been God's perfect plan for a person to have been an alcoholic.
I don't know.
Well, then I guess God doesn't have a perfect plan.
I don't know that either.
That's right. We don't know anything.
Okay.
So why do we walk around pretending as though we do?
Me? It's like I just wanted to present that to you, and I don't know what kind of argument you're trying to stir up here.
I'm not trying to stir up any argument. I'm trying to stir up some thought.
It seems like it. It's like, I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with prayer at all.
I've never seen one answered. No one has.
Do you have any proof?
Burden of proof is on you, sir, if you're the one asserting the prayer is answered.
Yes. So what's good for the goose is also good for the gander. Do you have any proof that they have been answered?
Sir, that's an absurd question. It's the people in this country who want to tell me that God answers prayer, so I want to see some proof of the prayers being answered. There is not one documented case of a prayer ever being answered, no matter how large, no matter how small.
Where's the proof that they aren't answered?
Get off my phone, idiot. St. Petersburg, you're on the air at WPLP.
Yes. Oh, you were called a brilliant man twice tonight. But the Bible says the fool, capital F-O-O-L.
Yeah, I don't care what the Bible says. Why don't you tell me what you say?
No God.
Why don't you tell me what you say, dearie? I don't want to hear somebody else's words. How about yours?
And when you sit here night after
I see you can't answer that, can you? Because you don't have anything in your head. Nothing whatsoever in your
people
head.
against God.
Right.
You and the station will be destroyed.
Oh, yeah.
Jan Mansfield was decapitated because she was like you. There was swift
that a
and
fact?
pure punishment.
What station did Jane Mansfield have a talk
She
show
was
on?
a devil worshiper like you
A
are.
devil worshiper. No, dear, you see, I don't worship anything. The only people that believe in the devil are people that believe in God, honey.
Will live forever.
See, the only people that believe in the devil are people that believe in God.
Carnal mind
Of
cannot
course, that goes right over your head, too.
change your heart.
Yeah, I'll
and
change
you'll
my
know
heart.
that God answers prayer.
Right. Another one that has not a thought of her own in her head. Another one that believes that silly thing about everything goes according to God's perfect plan. Well, if everything goes according to God's perfect plan, then it must have been his plan for me to sit here tonight and have this conversation.
The phone numbers that put you on the air at
Secretary and North, this could be used on the home front so we wouldn't have homeless. We wouldn't have these border babies that Barry Gray was talking about all week. Sir, you're the problem. Get off my show. Never, ever call again. 570 WMCA, Gary D. Melissa, within the next 5 minutes.
Hello.
Hello. Bless your heart.
That young man.
With final hour on this Tuesday, January the 20th, 1987. For me, Bob Lassiter, and you, whoever you may be. Strangest thing that's happening in my life. Until relatively recently, and you know, when you get to be as old as I am, relatively recently is 5-6 years. Until relatively recently, I identified more with people who were older than me. I was always around adults when I was growing up and did not have an awful lot of contact with people my own age, and consequently I always felt much more comfortable with people who were older than me. But recently, that has begun to change. And I feel much more comfortable with people who are considerably younger than me. And am much less tolerant, much less understanding, much less sympathetic, and much less aligned with people who are older than me, the next generation up, if you will. And so from time to time, I like to do a show where I talk to nothing, or talk to no one, but younger people. And that's what we're doing tonight, limiting the calls to 30 and under. And I think the youngest we've had is 13, obviously the oldest 30, and I think we've had every number in between. Wait a second, I believe there's a number missing, 23. I don't think we've talked to anybody 23 tonight. Maybe we'll correct that before it's all over. But in any event, that's what we're doing, and that's why we're doing it. And the more I talk to young people,
Airlines announced draconian measures today to make the Texas Air subsidiary economically viable. The airline's new president, Phil Bake, said Eastern wants a large cut in labor costs, up to 30%, to save close to $500 million. Leaders of two unions denounced the move as an effort to intimidate employees. And Machinist Union official Charles Bryan again urged Texas Air Chairman Frank Lorenzo to allow Eastern employees.
I don't think that Reagan has too much on the ball other than his personal charisma.
I know that you've probably read that, but do you see it in the man himself?
Oh, yeah. All I see him is reading words off a page. He can read from a script, excellent, but when it comes time for him to speak off the cuff, he can't do it unless he's got the drone of a helicopter behind him to muffle his words.
Explain what it means to be patriotic. Are you patriotic?
I would hope to be patriotic to the fact that, you can't be mindlessly patriotic. You can't say my country right or wrong when you know that something is wrong. You have to work to change it.
Yeah, but what about if the rest of the world is listening? Shouldn't you then say my country, right or wrong? If the rest of the world is listening.
No. The rest of the world, because, they can perceive whether or not you're doing something into your own selfish self-interest or if you're doing something because you really think it's right.
What does it mean if God doesn't answer your prayers?
Oh, Bob, I don't think that Bob does answer prayers, that God does answer prayers, so I can't really answer that.
Why doesn't he answer prayers?
Because I don't believe in a God that would answer prayers. I'm more or less a deist. I believe in a creator, but I don't believe that he's watching over us and pulling the string, so to speak.
Have you ever heard the phrase, better dead than red?
Sure.
Do you agree with it?
Well, I don't think I'll ever be in a position of that, but I would say Yes.
You do agree with it?
I believe in my personal freedoms, and that if I cannot express what I believe in and the way I feel and have the rights that I've become accustomed to, I don't think I could survive under a restrictive government like that.
Are you sure that a communist government would be a restrictive government?
From everything that I've been able to hear about them, about any communist country that is now on this planet, I would say they are restrictive to individuality and personal freedoms, yes.
Well, I would agree with you that every communist government that I know of falls into that category. But is that inherent in communism, or is it just that the people who have brought communist government to some nations on the face of this earth were uncomfortable with freedoms?
That could be possible. I'm more of an anarchist than a communist, though.
Well, I can well see why communism wouldn't be for you. If you were dealing with an immoral adversary, an adversary that had no scruples whatsoever, would it be okay to deal on his terms with him?
No. You're lowering yourself to his level, and if you have any self-respect at all, you can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, what about if the adversary dropped mustard gas on you? I know that's deplorable. It's despicable. Wouldn't it be okay then to drop mustard gas on him?
No. You have to examine all the alternatives first. I can't say unequivocally no, but it would have to be an extreme situation to justify it.
Why is this administration, the Reagan administration, so concerned with communism in South America?
They're mainly interested in protecting their own self-interest down in South America. It has nothing to do with any political ideas.
You sure about that? I know that's what I said in the first hour. I don't know if you were listening.
You summed up pretty much what I believe. I believe that it's been the way since ever. All there is down there is one dictatorship after another. There's never been democracy in South America, at least in that region of Nicaragua. They've gone from one dictator to another. Wealthy landowners keeping the people under their thumb, and it doesn't matter what flag waves, whether it's a red flag or a red, white, and blue pseudo-democratic state. It's just wealth, powerful people keeping their thumbs on people and not letting them work their way up the ladder.
Are you sure that's not just left-wing propaganda? You sure that that's the way it really is down there?
From what I've seen, the way the country started with the conquistadors and all the other type of thing going way back in history, they appointed a governor, and he had all the power, and he transferred that power down through his family, and it's been more or less like a kingdom with serfs, and that's the way it's been up until Sandinistas, and I still have, the jury's still out on the Sandinistas as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you much, my friend.
You're welcome.
Be good. A line available in Pinellas, 393-0057. Hyde Park. Hi, you're on the air.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How old are you, Hyde Park?
28.
28, one of our elder statesmen this evening. Doesn't that make you feel terrible?
Yes, it does.
No, hey, it gets worse from here on in.
Don't tell me that now.
No, do you like baseball?
Yeah.
Which favorite team?
The Dodgers.
The Dodgers? Wait till you realize that all the people on your favorite team are younger than you are.
I had the same problem at Playboy Center Falls.
Well, that's true, too. But that's been my problem for decades. What's the best thing about being an American?
The freedom that we have.
Like what? What kind of freedoms?
Well, for example, this radio show, you sit there a lot of times and criticize our government, and you have the right to do that. And I think it's good that you can do that because it allows people to think. The freedom to go out and buy what you want to start your own business. What I think this country was founded on, and we've kind of gotten away from it the past 2 years, is you're supposed to have the ability to do pretty much what you want to as long as you don't hurt anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Are we getting away from that? Could you be specific? Could you give me an example?
I think we're becoming more of a two-class society, upper and lower. I think the little guy in America now, for example, I heard this years ago, that back in the 30s when an immigrant moved into, say, New York, He could go out, get a used car, and open his own taxi service. The licensing fees on taxis in New York City now are about $200,000 per taxi. Where's the little guy? How does the little guy get in?
Good point. How important is religion in your life?
In my life, not very.
Why not?
I think religion was created a long time ago as a way to keep the masses in line.
But so were laws.
Excuse me?
But so were laws.
That's true, but you know, what's the greatest fear that most people, I think most people have? It's the fear of dying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And religion answers some basic questions like what happens to me after I pass beyond this world. And maybe even now, but especially back in the olden times, if you hadn't had religion, society in general, I think, would have run amok.
Who do you most admire?
Who do I most admire?
Yeah.
Difficult question.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Why is it a difficult question?
There's nobody that springs to mind right offhand. And I'm almost sorry to,
Kind of falls into that general catch-all where people say we don't have any heroes anymore. Why don't we have any heroes anymore? Why don't you admire anybody?
Oh, there are people that I admire.
Well, then tell me about them.
For example, I admire you. I think you're an intelligent guy. You seem to have your ideals pretty much in a line. But why we have no heroes anymore, it seems like every time we get one, someone comes along to knock him down.
What can you tell me about the 1960s?
The time when a dream was born, that a time when people were excited about it. People had a cause in the 60s. There were a lot of young people in this country who were determined to end the war in Vietnam. And instead of just sitting at home like people of today sit at home and gripe about Reagan, they did something about it. Admittedly, there was a lot of the downside of that with the drugs.
You're the third person I've asked this question of tonight. Did you hear the first two?
No, I didn't. I tuned in late tonight.
Okay.
Was at work.
Their answers were quite different from yours.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What did they say?
Oh, they spoke about the drugs and the long hair and the funny clothes. And neither of them, the other two, mentioned the things that you mentioned, the dream.
The 60s were about a dream. The fact that a group of people were determined to make America a better place. And unfortunately, when those people got kicked in the teeth in places like Chicago, they went home and stopped caring. I think that's the major thing that's wrong with this country now.
Is that why they stopped caring? Because they got kicked in the teeth in Chicago?
And not only that, because they realized that it basically didn't do a heck of a lot of good to be out there. And then they also became involved in themselves, which I guess we all do.
What do you mean it didn't do any good to be out there? They stopped the war. They got civil rights legislation passed that no one else had been able to accomplish in almost 200 years. Did a lot of good, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. But did it really? And what's going on in Central America today, I think in a broad base, can be compared to what was going on in Vietnam in around 58, 59, 60.
Mm-hmm. Parallels are striking.
We have this intense fear of the word communism, which I don't think half the people who get on your show, especially people who get on your show and put it down, have any idea what they're talking about.
Well, I did something a little bit earlier tonight, and I'm probably going to expand on it tomorrow, but I was mentioning in the first hour that most people would sit around and bitch about the bankers controlling everything, and about big business, and how it just doesn't care about the little guy. And in essence, most people would sit around and talk about the things that the communists talk about. And they don't even realize it.
That's quite true. Well, I don't think there's ever been a successful communist government in the history of the world.
Not that I'm aware of.
But if you go back and you read Marx, and you take it as theory, and it sounds beautiful. I mean, to each what they need, from each what they can contribute. Unfortunately, when you put the human element into it, and I think we're probably born greedy, or at least some people are, somebody eventually seizes power and says, no, we're going to call it communism, but we're going to do it this way. We're going to deny this and deny that. And that's not what it's about. The whole idea of communism is that everybody is supposed to be equal. I'm not necessarily advocating a communist form of government. I don't think it's ever been successful, so I don't think we've ever had communism on this earth.
What's your ambition in life?
To be reasonably happy.
What's that going to take?
I don't know. It's not money. It's not fame. To look at the end of it, to be able to look back and say that I did pretty much what I wanted to do. I didn't step on anybody in the process of doing it, and that I had a good time. That life was fun. I really think that people should enjoy themselves. It's the only shot you have at existence.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a
Take
nice
care.
day.
One line open. It's in Hillsborough. 224-0057.
Carol Gordon, flute. The class concert, and all you could hear was my cough, till Peter's mom handed me some Metaquel.
Metaquel, chewy cough squares, with a powerful cough suppressant doctors recommend. Metaquel, as strong as any syrup, but you can take it anywhere.
Suzanne Wood, violin. Now even the teacher's quiet in class.
Metaquel, real cough relief. To go. Use only as directed for coughs due to colds.
More power to look, more power to thirst, more power to play, more power to speak and break. We sing today, ever ready, more power to the USA.
Ever Ready makes every kind of flashlight for every kind of need.
More power to the USA.
They're here, but they're going fast. The WPLP Winner's Choice Sweepstakes catalog is available while supplies last at Wendy's, Eckerd Drug, and company-owned Firestone locations in Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco counties. They make you eligible to win fabulous prizes like cash, exotic vacations, VCRs, exciting nights on the town, furniture, camera, apparel, and much, much more. But you have to have a Winner's Choice Sweepstakes form to win. Get yours. Then listen for your number starting Monday, January 26th. On WPLP, your news and talk station.
Hi, Tampa. You're on the air at WPLP.
Hi, Bob. I'm ready to take the test.
Okay, Tampa, how old are you?
14.
14. Okay, let me jot that down. Tampa, tell me, how do the Soviets differ from the Americans?
Well, basically they live under communist government.
Is that the only difference?
What?
Is that the only difference?
That's the basic difference, because they want the same things we do, basically.
Like what?
They don't want war. They want peace. They want, well, I heard you show the other night where you were talking about they want the same things we do. They want the same things. They want peace. They don't want war. It's just that their government works different from ours.
Why is there hatred between the races in this country? Why do you think that exists?
Probably because they don't understand each other. Blacks don't understand whites, and whites probably don't understand blacks.
It's a pretty broad statement. Could you narrow it down for me?
Whites aren't used to blacks because they're different. They're physically different. Mm-hmm. They look at them and they figure that they're maybe less or something, even though a lot of them probably aren't. Like most of them probably aren't.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about homosexuals? Do they worry you? Do they bother you?
No, not really. If that's the way they want to live, then they should let them. They're not hurting anybody, really. Unless they give somebody AIDS or something, but that's just a minor problem.
What was the last thing that made you cry? Do you remember?
That's a hard one, though. I really can't. No, I don't know.
Okay. What's the most important function of the schools?
To teach people principles, basics, to get a job.
Schools should teach people how to get jobs?
Oh, we should teach them the basics so they can go on later and then get a job.
Mm-hmm. One final question.
Okay.
What's your biggest gripe with your elders?
That they don't want to listen to younger people. They think that they know it all, and that you should listen to them, and they never listen to your ideas.
Do you listen to your elders' ideas?
Oh, yeah, a lot of them. But the thing is, they'll say, this is how it is, this is how it was when I was a kid, and this is the only way it should be, because this is the way they think it's right, and they really don't want to listen to your ideas.
Thank you very much, my young friend.
Okay.
Take care. A line open in Hillsborough, 224-0057. Port Richie, welcome to WPLP.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. How old are you, Port Richie?
I'm 27.
27 it is. Tell me what you think about Ronald Reagan.
Well, that's a very good question. I used to think the world of him. I guess it was just the image that I got projected through my father, who was basically about the same age. I'm not one to go with the flow. I like to consider myself a leader, not a follower, and I don't like to have other people make up my mind, but I think his image is kind of tarned. I kind of agree to a caller a few minutes back who said something about that without being extremely briefed or having a script, he is kind of lost for words. He does scare the hell out of me. In that fact, I think he's very unsure of himself. I think he's quite tentative. But on the bottom line, I think he really cares about our well-being. And I think that's why he's so stubborn. And I think that was, Reykjavik was a good example of that. And I've heard your questions about comparisons and contrasts between the.
Mm-hmm. Are you a preacher?
Oh, no, I'm not.
No. But...
No, I'm a human being with some gray matter between my ears.
No, but the thing is, I heard you're an atheist.
Well, you heard wrong, Ann.
Yeah, because...
No, well, Ann, you heard wrong.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Because everybody says to me, listen to Bob on Lassiter, because he's an atheist.
Well, he isn't.
And then when I'm...
Well, he isn't, Ann.
All right, you say you're not.
Yeah.
But look at the impression you give to Christians. You can have 100 people on here, not one person you would agree. You knock down everything.
No, Ann, I challenge everything.
Well, you...
That's what things are there for, Ann, so they can be challenged.
Well, nothing seems to please you, does it?
Are you a Protestant, Ann?
No, I'm not.
Are you a Catholic, Ann?
I believe in God.
Are you a Catholic, Ann?
Oh, what does that have to do?
I'm asking a question. Are you?
No, I'm not.
So then you're a Protestant if you're a Christian.
Well, I want to tell you something.
Well, it's amazing. It's amazing, Ann, because had there not been a man named Martin Luther to challenge and question the authority and the teachings of the Catholic Church, then your religion wouldn't exist, Ann.
He died as a sinner, didn't he?
He died as a sinner?
He died as a sinner.
Martin Luther died as a sinner? How's that, Ann?
Well, read your scriptures. You said you
read your scriptures. There's nothing... Ann, the Bible was completed hundreds of years prior to Martin Luther. There's nothing in the Bible about Martin Luther, is there, Ann?
Martha
Is
Luther,
there, Ann?
Then who made Martha Luther up? Who made him up?
Who made him up? No one made him up. He existed. He was a historical character, Ann.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I want to tell you something. You said you talked about if anybody can prove. Now, you seem to like things going your way. Now, if you
I'm just like everybody else,
Ann. They always say, if you want respect, you got to give respect. If you want love, you got to give love. Romans 13, it describes love. Not a love for a child.
Well, what does it say about that love, Ann?
How to get
Ann,
along
what does
with
it
people.
Ann, what does it say about that love?
It says, if you have love, you're not a drunkard, you're not a stealer, you're not this, and you're not that, and it goes on and on. Now, if
You mean,
have
for
love in your heart, don't do these things.
Ann, you mean if you were filled with love, then you wouldn't have come on the air making gross accusations that have no foundation in fact whatsoever about my beliefs, huh?
People know that you're an atheist and you don't agree with anything in the Bible unless it's what you believe. Think about it.
And if only there was a mirror that you could hold up to your radio. If only there was a mirror, Ann. St. Petersburg. Greg, you're on the air, WFLA.
Bob.
Hi, Greg.
Looks like you're having another one of your hatred toward God shows.
No, I have no hatred toward God at all.
Getting all your atheist buddies to call. It's always funny how
No, I don't ever get buddies to call.
So
I don't have any buddies, Greg.
Just wanted to set you straight on a few things here.
Oh, really?
What harm can come out of teaching the Bible in classrooms? I don't know any
Great deal of
Christians
harm.
that go to school with guns. I don't know any good Christians that go to their school and steal things from other people.
You don't.
So you tell me what harm can come out of the Bible at school.
Well, Greg, it's really quite the other way around. How many people in this country, percentage-wise, profess a belief in God?
I'd guess about 90%.
Well, it's about 95, Greg. What percentage of the prison population are atheists?
Are atheists? I don't know that.
Virtually
You got
none.
figures on that.
Virtually none, Greg. Virtually none.
But he's saying they're all born-again Christians in there? That's irrelevant to what harm could come out of teaching the Bible in a classroom.
Great deal of harm comes out of the Bible, Greg.
Well, what
a
kind
great
of harm
deal of potential harm comes out of the Bible.
What kind of harm
The
could be
Bible's
done
views
to
on
children
women.
if they were taught don't
The
kill,
Bible,
don't steal?
the Bible's views on women, for example. The Bible's views on people of color, for example. That's what kind of harm comes out. The Bible's views against science and learning. That's what kind of harm comes out of the Bible, Greg.
So you say
You don't need the Bible, Greg, to tell somebody it's wrong to murder, do you?
Well, it doesn't seem like
You don't need the Bible to tell somebody it's wrong to lie, do you, Greg?
Maybe if a little bit of fear came out of them, like if they did something wrong, there might be some punishment at the end of the line. Maybe that would help control. I mean, just saying to somebody that's wrong to do that.
Greg,
and it will slap your hand if you do.
Greg,
How's that gonna?
Greg, do you believe in the Bible, Greg? Do you believe in the Bible?
Yeah, I do.
Well, it hasn't done you a damn bit of good. You came on this show telling lies.
Atheist pig, you dirty atheist, hiding behind your agnostic crap. Nothing but an atheist pig who just likes to spread your hatred toward God there. And you get all your buddies. I don't hear people trying to defend the Bible because you always hang up on them and slam the receiver on them. All you get is your atheist buddies trying to spread your hatred and your vengeance towards your God. And you still can't say anything about what harm actually came out of the Bible, can you?
Greg, I don't have to. You just did for me. 1:46 the time. One line available in...
And a nation yet that actually advanced apart from Christianity.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
Intellectually,
I beg your pardon.
And inventions and
Uh-huh.
and in modern things of our time, Christianity started it. So what?
Oh, yeah, all right.
All right, going
Now,
back.
Christianity did its best. Christianity did its best to suppress man's knowledge. And in spite of Christianity, during the Middle Ages, knowledge advanced in other parts of the world.
When the emperors wanted
Get your ducks in a row, John.
Where you run now? Don't hang up on me. When the emperor
Oh, in that case, you're gone. Don't tell me what to do.
bust you upside the head, you understand me? And I just can't wait.
Oh, I do understand you,
I'm going to
Kevin.
be out to get you. You
Yeah, I
wait.
do understand you, Kevin. You're a blowhard. Pat in Tampa, you're on the air, WFLA.
Hi, it's Pat. Am I on?
Yeah.
All right, I'm disgruntled, and I just decided I'd put my disgruntlement in a short poem. Is it all right if I read it?
Sure.
All right, here it is. A violent death to Mr. Bob Lassiter, for he is satanic, Satan's favorite ambassador. He poisons us with his evil views. He'll burn in hell along with the Jews. He slings mud at our beloved Ron Reagan. Oh, Lord, bring pain to this most wicked pagan. Russian propaganda abounds in his head. His mouth will not rest until we're all red. His ideals all Christians must deplore. He called Pat Robertson's sweet wife a whore. He defends to his death, the disease-ridden faggots. Oh, Lord, fill his brain with festering maggots. He wants lazing blacks to get their fair portion. He wants teenage girls to practice abortion. He talks with glee of smut and masturbation. Oh, Lord, sentence him to a messy castration. He's sick, he's evil, he's really depraved. I'd slit his throat if I weren't saved. We will not be safe till this vile man is deceased. Shave his head. 666, the mark of the beast.
990-935. No, it will. Oh, especially with a name like that. Violet in St. Pete Beach. Hi, Violet. You're on the air, WFLA.
This is Bob?
Yep.
This is Violet. You know what I'm disgruntled about? Because I can't figure out if you're really for real.
Mm-hmm.
Are you?
Well, it kind of depends what you mean, Violet.
Well, I mean, do they really let people like you on the air?
No, Violet, this is piped into your house. This is all part of a plot to drive you insane. This is a direct wire into your radio. No one else hears this but you, Violet.
Oh, well, listen,
because we're trying to drive you crazy, Violet.
Listen to me. I really am disgruntled about something.
Uh-huh.
I live on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Not St. Pete, Clearwater
I couldn't care less, yeah.
And, you know, this is the beginning of spring break.
Mm-hmm.
I live on Mandalay Avenue, and it's like one big parking lot. And
remember when you ran away and I got on my knees and begged you not to leave because I go berserk? Well, you left me anyhow, and then the days got worse and worse, and now you see I've gone completely out of my mind. And they're coming to take me away, haha.
Here, WFLA.
Yeah, Bob.
Yeah, Mike.
You must be gay, are you?
Mm-hmm. Why, is it of some great interest to you?
A man called up and said you weren't a man.
Is it some great interest to you, Mike?
I'll show you what kind of a man I am.
That's right. You want to come over and bend over, Mike?
Oh, you queer.
Mm-hmm.
The people...
No, Mike, Mike, you see, you're the one with a dirty mind. I was going to kick him in the ass. Why? What did you think I was going to do, Mike?
Okay. The people listening
What did you think I was going to do, Mike?
What's that?
What did you think I was going to do?
I don't know. I haven't any idea.
Oh, right, of course, Mike. Come on, we know what's on your mind.
Yeah, well, it's...
You got all excited when you heard that, didn't you, Mike? You thought, oh, boy, there's one. Give it to me up the butt. Yeah.
You're just as bad. The people listening
I'm just as bad. You're the one who's thinking dirty, Mike. What do you mean I'm just as bad?
The reason why they have...
We know where your mind is.
To draw a large audience.
Mm-hmm. We know where your mind is,
The
Mike.
people that are on listening to me now should boycott the products on WFLA.
Right.
They should boycott the products. That's the way to get you off the air.
Mm-hmm.
Which you should be.
Yes, why should I be,
You're not going to hang up on me because I'm going to hang up on you.
No, I'm quicker than you are, Mike. You're too old and slow. Tim in Dunedin, you're on the air. Yes, Tom. Joe in St. Petersburg, you're on the air, WFLA.
Bob, I got, yes, I'm disgruntled, very disgruntled on 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
One, I believe that you have no patience at all.
Mm-hmm.
And 2, you are, in fact, a hypocrite.
How's that, Joe?
Well, I think I can prove that in the same point, with 1 point. Today's show, you hung up on more people today than you have in a long time. No patience with them whatsoever. Now, I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying you don't have any patience, and that disgruntles me.
And that proves I'm a hypocrite because I don't have patience.
Well, the hypocritical thing is this.
Hypocritical thing?
In between conversations in today's show, you have invited us all to call up and give it to you. But no, you want to hang up. That shows you're a hypocrite. Why don't you give us a chance to slam it to you?
Well,
if you're inviting it,
this is your big chance, Joe.
I'm just saying, if you're inviting it, let it happen. Otherwise, that makes you a hypocrite.
Okay, Joe. Edward in St. Petersburg, you're on the air, WFLA.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, Edward.
Hey, how you doing? Let me tell you something. You know what I like to do? Bob, you ever had a good fight before? Huh? Have you ever had a good fight before?
Yeah, I have, Edward.
You have?
Yeah.
I want you to meet me somewhere. And me and you will have a real good fight.
Okay, Central and 34th. Wait for me. I'll be wearing a red hat. Bonnie in Clearwater, you're on the air, WFLA. Bonnie in Clearwater, you're on the air, WFLA.
Yeah, I want to know why you won't talk to Tom.
Tom who?
Tom in Clearwater.
Well, I won't talk to him. I did.
Why do you hang up on him?
I did talk to him.
Talk to him?
I did talk to him.
I want to hear what he has to say.
Okay, we'll put him on the air right now with you.
He keeps hanging up on me.
Go ahead, Tom.
Hey.
Bob.
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah. Hey, I just like to say, you keep calling up, I keep calling you up, and you keep hanging up on me before I got anything to say, before I get anything out of my mouth.
Well, Tom, it's not my fault. It takes you so long.
I happen to feel you're quite a puke now.
Yeah. Well, what did you have to say,
you
Tom?
ain't got the balls.
Well, what did you have to say, Tom?
I'm so much better than you.
So what did you have to say, Tom?
What do we got, 2 conversations going on here? Do you not know how to operate that telephone?
Yeah, I do.
Do you? That Finortner or whatever you call it?
So what is it that I don't have the balls to listen to, Tom?
Huh? You ain't got the balls to talk to somebody when they call up. You keep clicking them off.
Well, that's because you never get around to anything,
You got
Tom.
me so pissed off, Jill. I don't even know what I'm pissed off at you for now.
Well, okay, now I'm going to hang up on you again because now you don't know why you're calling. You see, Bonnie, I give him a chance, but he never gets around to the point.
Yeah, but he sounds so much better than you.
No, he doesn't, Bonnie. You know better than that.
He does. He has such a sexy voice.
Right.
Right.
What the hell would you know about sex, Bonnie?
Well, more than you do.
Right, of course.
Listen to you.
Yeah. When was the last time you had any, Bonnie?
Ask Tom.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the best you can do, Bonnie. We all feel sorry for you. 935.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Lynn. What are you disgruntled about today?
I'm disgruntled because I believe you're alive.
How's that, Lynn?
Well, there was a lady called earlier and told you you'd outgrown your hat. And you told her that you didn't own a hat.
That's correct. I don't.
And then just now, some guy wanted to meet you and whoop up on your butt, and you told him you'd be in a red hat.
That's right.
Where's this hat?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
That's right.
But you're going to be wearing one.
No, I won't be.
You won't be?
No.
Why, because you won't be there?
That's right, Lynn.
Yeah.
Now you're getting smarter. Are you buying Richard Shank Smart Pills?
Pardon me?
Are you buying Richard Shank Smart Pills? They seem to be working.
You're a jerk.
Yeah. But you're on the air at WFLA.
Yeah, I'll be disgruntled about, you be talking about your love life. And one time you called him Mr. Snake. You had a Mr. Snake. But I remember in high school, in the PE class, and when you had to go take a shower.
Which high school was that, Carl?
Over in Dunedin.
Sorry, Carl. Better luck next time. George in Clearwater, you're on the air at WFLA. Jim in Tampa, you're on.
And that's what I've seen in the showers.
Right.
Ain't no Mr. Snake.
Yeah. Used to stare at it all the time, didn't you, Jim? Kind of fascinated you. Remember the time you offered me a quarter if I'd let you touch it? Silly people, they actually believe. They truly, truly believe that they're capable of taking me on. Mary in St. Petersburg.
Hi, Bob.
Yes, Mary, what are you disgruntled about?
Disgruntled because a show like this, if you had it on for an hour, maybe it'd be all right, but it goes on and it'll probably go on for another hour. It gets...
No, an hour and a half.
It really gets too much. If I can hear you, talking some other subject later, I'd be very happy.
Well, you won't be happy today. Kim in Tampa, you're on the air at Clearwater. Hi, Harry, you're on the air. What are you disgruntled about?
Friend, WPPL, I miss you over here. What are you doing? Hey.
Talking to jerks,
what are
Harry.
you doing? Hey, I saw you in the grocery store the other day, and you were swapping eggs. You were taking eggs out. Well, what do you do that for? Was that you I saw? Hey, are you there? Hello?
Harry, I might ask the same of you.
Listen, you big fat pig. I want to go over and see you when you come out that door tonight. I'm going to be waiting for you. I want to tell you a story. You're going to have a red hat on? Hey, you bum, you are so full of you-know-what. Disgraceful talking to nice people like you do. You know, I wonder how long they're going to keep you on this line over here. You ought to be ashamed. Hey, pig. Are you there, pig?
Harry, why don't you take up shuffleboard or something,
You
know?
are a pig. Pig.
A pink. Oh.
That's something you understand. It makes you feel bad. Hey, pig. Pig. P-I-G.
Oh, pig.
Pig.
I thought you were saying
What's the
pink.
matter? Can't you hear? Take
I
the plugs
prefer
out of your
I
nose.
prefer that you put your teeth in the next time you
What's
call,
that
Harry.
coming out of your nose? You big slob. I don't know how you live so long.
It's only to... Harry, the truth is, it is
Say something, will
only
you?
to
You sit
keep
there
you
doing nothing but picking your
infuriated.
nose.
That's why I live so long.
Bye, you slob. What time do you get off?
You know
I
my
want to meet
schedule,
you
Harry.
what time you get off.
Sure you do, Harry.
Yeah.
I'll be looking for you.
Hold you on.
Are you the one in the walker?
Goddamn ear off and shove it up your nose. You're a tough guy, aren't you? You're a tough one, huh?
Oh, not as tough as you, Harry.
When you get off the
Oh,
phone...
Harry, please don't be outside to beat me up.
When you get off the phone, what do you
Harry,
do? Wiggle
please.
and look out the door to see who's there?
Please, Harry, don't beat me up, Harry. Oh, Harry, don't cut my ear off and shove it up my nose. Please, Harry. Please, promise me, Harry. I'll let you pet
Wait
Mr.
till I turn the
Snake.
next page. I want to see what it says on the next page.
Oh, okay. You make notes for this? This isn't coming off the top of your head? This is actually thought out? Next page must be blank. It threw him. Are you having a stroke, Harry?
Now we're going to the next page.
Oh.
Are you listening?
Yeah, I'm listening, Harry.
Okay. What is your name anyway? Take?
Is that what's on the top of the next page? What is your name anyway?
Where are you going after you leave this station?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Well, I'm getting sick. I think I'll go outside and puke.
Okay. Jim and...
This is for Florins who live in Bee Ridge.
Have you ever been able to put together two sentences?
That were born from one bitch, and that's what your wife
we all know that, but have you ever been able to put together two sentences at one time?
Your breath smells like your rear end, too.
Well, why don't you come over here and smell it? Bob Woodrow in Palmetto. Woodrow, you're on the air, WFLA.
Mr. Lassiter, Reverend Woodrow Smith. I call him from Palmetto, Florida.
Well, that's too bad. You wasted all your money. 990-935. You're on the air, WFLA.
Yes, I just want to tell you that I don't think you're that hot. You have a following, but you'll never be a Wally Phillips.
I'll never be a Wally Phillips. I would certainly hope not, Dolores.
Well, Wally Phillips is great. I never
Yes,
missed
sir.
him when I lived up there, and I miss him, and I don't care that much about you.
Don't you have somebody up there that could tape shows for Wally and send them to you?
Pardon?
Don't you have any friends up there who could tape shows of Wally and send them to you?
I go up there on vacation, and I don't miss him when I'm up there on vacation.
Son of a
He used
gun.
to play beautiful songs for us.
Funny, I was talking to him just the other day, and he said he didn't miss you either.
Strip in the morning, and he'd play Big Bad Leroy Brown, and he'd play Ehrlichman, Halderman, Mitchell and Dean, the meanest men you ever seen.
Well, let me play something for you. Dolores, you were certainly correct in pointing out that I am not like Wally Phillips. I do not, as a general rule of thumb, appeal to people who don't have their own teeth.